Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to
Stupid timing.
Tabletop Notch.
That was dumb.
We're going to be diving into chapter 37.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
The mission's officially begun. It's officially in full swing. People are doing their thing. Last episode was pretty successful. Everyone pretty much did what they set out to do.
Good.
Well, we've all survived so far.
Oh, we did more than live.
far.
We laughed.
Nice.
We loved.
We fought.
We embraced.
Does anybody have any shout-outs, things they want to say before we go for it?
No.
All right.
So much.
That's what I like to hear.
Nothing exciting
Just
going
getting
on in
down
life.
to
Was
nothing exciting.
Yes.
Just
Let's
like-
roll that.
it was really nice
Yeah.
today.
All right.
Yeah.
I look.
Yeah.
Rainstorm.
Everybody
go.
take a breath.
Yeah.
In chapter 36, Lake It Till You Make It.
I loved that.
The party enjoyed a few relaxing moments at the hot springs before Jillian set an accelerated pace to reach our final camp by nightfall. We pushed ourselves near to the point of exhaustion, but found a lightly wooded area on a sloped hill that obscured our presence just enough to feel safe spending the night. It was here that Jillian outlined the first phase of the scouting mission itself. On foot, we would climb to an elevated area above the harvesting yard, where the waters of Lake Gulkan were home to a pair of structures that had been built to suppress the waterfall during the camp's construction, while the wall of force was being put in place. While Jillian and Graven distracted anyone who was working there, Erland and Orba would sneak up to the top floor of the tallest building, where they would get a good look at the camp without drawing any suspicion. As this was happening, Beezaura and Safira would track down some stolen supplies that had been left behind by one of Kilcetra's scouts, items that Jillian believed could be useful during the infiltration phase of the plan. With a good night's sleep and a bit of prayer, it was time to depart, leaving behind any non-essentials and tackling the increasingly steep terrain in the early hours of the morning. After summiting a particularly sheer portion of the mountainside, we gazed upon the enormity of Lake Gulkan. Down by the shoreline, we parted ways with Safira and Beezaura, who followed the scouts' instructions to move along the perimeter until they found a large boulder, indicating the nearby presence of stolen goods. But curiously, this far from the camp, they caught sight of a wagon and a few presumed harvesting yard employees, assembling some kind of apparatus in the distance. Not wanting to draw any attention, they moved to find the hidden cache first, though the cave they were directed to was now occupied by a large brown bear. And before they could enact a plan to lure it away, Beezaura's foot was caught in a hunting trap obscured by the tall grass, and the noise spooked the animal enough to force us into a fight.
Sorry.
We endured a few wounds, but our pursuit was not in vain. We found a set of keys and a few pairs of gloves that looked like they were built to handle hazardous material, and with the items in our possession, we headed back towards the lake. In the other direction, Jillian, Graven, Erland, and Orba crept closer to the operations depot. They concocted a plan to set ablaze one of the small boats moored at a nearby dock, a distraction immediate enough to draw attention of the Floodgate supervisor, but not so damaging that they would seek additional help from down below. With some opportunistic darting from rocks to trees, and the smoke providing a visible beacon, Erland and Orba slipped inside unnoticed, heading immediately to the third floor, which was split between a living quarters and an outdoor deck. Securely in place, and having noted some potential hiding spots, Erland peered out the window and into the harvesting yard as we wondered. Did the Radiran Elf's map that we'd been basing our plans on match what we were about to see at the now operational harvesting yard? What was Jillian's plan for getting 6 people across the catwalk unnoticed so we could access the other building? And was there anywhere up here where Beezaura and Safira could borrow a new set of ankles that had fewer bear traps attached to them? We find out now on chapter 37 of A Peek Beneath the Veil.
So what's happening?
Erland moves to the east-facing window and puts his hand gently on the frame. He stands close to the interior wall and lets the white noise of the waterfall fill his ears as he takes in the sights of the Shocking Mountains harvesting yard. With the rampant rumors and secrecy surrounding its construction and operation, the camp had taken on a kind of mythology in the minds of the party, something that seemed eternally a function of the future, a story told by Jillian as she tucks you in at night. But here it is. Very real, and very much giving you the impression that this is no bandit camp or backwater enterprise. The buildings are clean and sturdy, mostly comprised of dark gray stone and clay tile roofing, structures made to last. And there's even paved brick walkways that snake their way through the camp for quicker travel on foot, mitigating the drawbacks of the muddied ground in close proximity to the waterfall. The most prominent building is a shape all too familiar to you. A series of corridors connected 4 large chambers, including an imposing circular one with higher walls, and an opening in the roof that has the appearance of a kind of short, wide chimney. One of the corridors opens up into a stone footbridge that passes over the river, flowing steadily through the recessed area, accelerating enough along the rocky banks to create a white water effect that conveniently obscures what's hidden beneath. Across the bridge is the only part of the building that you can see into. It's too far to discern details, but the roof is mostly made up of glass panels, sloped in such a way that any runoff from heavy rain would trickle into the river. There are, however, a few things that immediately catch your eye that were not featured on Sketskir's map. One is a building on the north side, long and narrow, with a number of small balconies that jut out like you'd see in a luxury-style inn. And you can see that a number of them have tables or chairs set out, others with potted plants or small personalizations. It seems like people spend a good amount of time here. They don't sort of ferry back and forth from the cities. People actually kind of live here for periods of time. On the far end, farthest from the waterfall, the west end, the opposite side, there's a series of raised wooden platforms, maybe 3 or 4 of them, each with a staircase leading up to them, and then on top, each of these sort of platform staging areas has its own small treadwheel crane. And judging by the width between the platforms, it looks like this spot is for loading and unloading goods from wagons and carriages. The last bit of architecture that was not on the map are the 3 sentry towers that Jillian had foretold. Hefty turrets with wooden balconies and an archway carved out near the base that looks to allow riders to easily travel underneath them, although it does appear to have a gate mechanism to shut off passage if necessary. And between these towers, running the entire perimeter of the harvesting yard with the exception of the waterfall, they've leveled out and paved a gravel path so these guards on horseback can easily circumvent the area, flank anyone moving about the camp or surround it in an emergency. It all adds up to an imposing sight. It's obvious that a great deal of effort has been put into bolstering the legitimacy of the operation. None of the morally questionable unpleasantries are visible from the exterior, and the uniformity of colors give it almost the look of a military training ground or a religious retreat like a secluded mountain abbey. sun is at its apex, and the visibility on this day is good. The scouting mission has officially begun.
Oh my god. Oh, wait. Huh? What?
What an artiste.
Right.
Oh my god!
Okay.
Welcome
Big
to...
version.
Oh
Okay.
my
I'll put it on
god!
the big one for a second.
Oh boy.
This is the Shocky Mountains Harvesting Yard.
Oh, yes it is.
My God.
I got myself one of these to make this a little easier. This is the end with the waterfall. So you're
Okay.
up that way. So
Yeah.
it falls down into that little lake there and then flows through here this way.
Okay.
This is the circular room I was talking about that has a sort of wide chimney.
Uh-huh.
This was the footbridge I was talking about.
Okay.
And this is the room that has the glass ceilings that you can kind of peer into.
All right.
This is the long building that was not on the map that appears to be sort of a living quarters or a barracks of some kind that have little balconies that people are out on.
Get scared. Piece of shit.
And these are the platforms that seem to have those cranes on them and that are sort of wide for the purposes of loading and unloading goods.
It's huge.
These are the sentry towers.
Really big. Oh, jeez.
God.
Oh, jeez.
Jeez Louise.
Okay.
What did we get ourselves into?
Little cookie towers.
Yeah, what did we get ourselves
They look
into?
delicious.
So now that we've blown that up a little bit, we'll come back to just regular map.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
So this is what you guys are gazing upon, or as Erland first sort of gazing out the window is looking and seeing.
How
We don't see
far
this yet.
away is like that building that we're up on? Like,
I mean,
the
it's
water-
just like
well,
up
it's
here.
literally
Yeah,
right up
yeah.
there.
I mean, it's like
Oh.
100 feet down or so
my
to
God.
the.
We're
But
just- we're
there's
right
still.
above it, yeah.
You are, although it's important to note that the buildings are not right on the edge. There's still another 20 feet of land or so.
Yeah.
Like it's not like if you stood sort of near the building, people down here wouldn't be able to see you. They could see the roof where Erland and Orba are if they looked right up at them. But
and the
Yeah.
lake is back
yeah,
here.
over this way. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Question.
Yes.
Where is the gravel pathway? How does that like
Between the
sync?
towers.
Yeah. between
Yes,
the
so
three
it's
sides.
like here. It's like this. It goes
Okay.
along here, and it goes underneath them. So the path, and they can travel underneath.
Uh-huh.
And there's little gates at the bottom of each of the towers.
Right, and then so the one that's on the other side of the river, does that have a path still, even though there's
This
no...
one?
Yeah.
Yes. So there's a little bridge here
Got
that's in
it,
the distance.
okay.
So it goes around 3/4 of the map. There is no
Yeah.
pathway
No,
out
around
here,
the
yeah, to where the
waterfall.
waterfall
Okay.
is.
And then just for, this might come up and I might have to ask this later. But like, based on what Erland's just looking out the top floor window right now,
Yes.
and all this is being revealed. What does it seem like, just distance wise, if someone like on one of the towers were to look up versus if someone sort of like walking around the grounds would look up? Would they see a body?
Someone-
Would they see?
You're talking about yourself.
Yeah, would they see me?
Someone on the ground near the waterfall, it's almost impossible to see you. The angle, I mean, you guys
Yeah.
are over 100 feet up from the waterfall.
Okay.
So anyone who's on this side, they could theoretically look up and see you, but you'd be so small. I mean, if they were looking through a spyglass, maybe. But that would be extraordinarily difficult to notice someone in your position.
The top of the sentinel towers, is it really only the close tower? Watchtowers,
Say that
I
again?
should say.
These
We
old
were
towers,
told
yeah.
there are guards on top of the towers?
You can see balconies running around them. You don't see someone there at the moment.
Great.
But yes.
So would
presume-
only the closest tower be the sort of most immediate threat in terms of being seen?
That they certainly, if they looked up, they're close enough to see a person where you're standing.
Okay,
yes. Yeah.
Another clarification. The glass, is there glass walls on this thing?
No, this is the
It's
one.
just
well,
that.
and it's a ceiling also. It's not
Right,
walls.
okay.
Yes. The ceiling is a sloped glass
Yeah, it's got-
panels. Yeah.
Got it, great.
This one is not glass.
Is there any portion of what is white that is like outdoors?
This tiny part of the footbridge there.
Okay, and that's just like a
And-
standard bridge. It's not like it doesn't have anything fancy like sheltering it or anything. It's just
It's just like an arched stone bridge. Yeah, that
Okay,
goes.
great.
So it opens. There's like a door there that opens into the bridge, and there's a door on the other side.
Okay.
And some of the, you said there are balconies by the living quarters, right? Like outdoor balcony areas?
There's a number of balconies. Yes.
Yeah, that's also...
Yeah, like each of these little things, and
Yeah.
it's estimated, but those are all balconies. People,
Okay.
Cool.
And the meeting place, because they're over here, right?
Yeah, they're up
On
the
that,
waterfall,
up over here. And we are at the lake, which is...
You guys are
back.
way off the map. Yeah.
So in order for us to meet them, they'd have to come down and, like, backtrack.
Well, we're
No,
gonna
you
come up
guys
to
are
that.
meeting up on the upper level.
Oh.
Where Jillian sort of hacked that piece off the tree. You're meeting well before you go down into the camp.
Right. But I'm saying where they are, they're closer.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
presumably going to
would
backtrack a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, to meet up with us.
Yeah.
That's the plan, anyway. Yes.
And this is a ravine, but there is a wall of force holding the water higher up than it would be.
Yeah, so
this waterfall would presumably fall
before they
farther.
got here, the water goes further down, and they've created a wall of force that holds it further up, closer to the surface, so that they could put something underneath. Yes.
Okay.
Let's scout this thing. So, Erland,
Gauge scout eyes.
goes up to the window, sort of looks at it, looks over his shoulder to Orba.
You're at like the staircase, like just making sure. Yeah.
And just gives her a quick.
Orba tiptoes over.
Sort of thought you'd want to see.
You do. You take in the sights.
Oh goodness.
And which one of you has the spyglass? Just so I know at this moment.
I handed it to you, so you
okay,
can
so
start.
you have it at the moment.
All right, I'm going to pull up a chair here. Is there a chair in the room that I could pull up?
Yeah,
Or?
there's a little stool. Yeah, so
Great.
there's like a stool, the trunk, the bed, the wardrobe. Yeah, there's a little stool, and there's another chair and little table out on the little roof deck as well. Yeah.
I'll pull up a chair here.
Okay.
Give the room a search,
Okay.
and then actually first keep an eye on the
supervisor?
The supervisor first to see when he's coming.
Okay.
But you keep an eye out for Graven. I think it should be you in case you need to flicker anything.
Okay.
And I'll start watching.
Okay. Yes, I can do that. I could make a list of things. I'm sure you have some as well of what Jillian would probably like to know. But yes.
Do you have a pen? You have a pen and paper?
Yes, but
A
let's
quill?
be cautious not to leave anything out. So
No, just-
taking out as few things as possible.
Perhaps if anything I see that is of note, I'll say out loud.
Okay.
The man's downstairs.
Well, you could just,
He's not at the moment,
Yeah, just,
but his office is right below you.
just give me a little. Come over here, and I will come over. You can whisper it to me, and I'll go back.
Yes.
If you're like as close as you guys are now, he would not be able to hear
Okay.
you on the second floor. The waterfall's quite loud here. You can hear it.
If anything noteworthy happens, I'll let you know, and perhaps we take a note of it.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, lots of notes. Lots of notes.
If we're here for a full day, I assume we'll see a great many things, and I'm going to assume that any movement at all is interesting.
Yep, absolutely. Okay. Yep. Okay. Yep.
All right.
Okay.
Give the room a look, and keep an eye out for the Goliath and the supervisor. And Ron's gonna pull up a stool, and I want to position myself so that I can if this is like the window, I want to position myself so that I can see everything as clearly as possible.
So again, looking out the way that you are, there is another like 5 feet of wooden balcony that wraps around. So if you're sitting there at the windowsill, it would be hard to see these, like the closest portion. You could still see out here, but the closest portions kind of require you to be up looking down.
Does going, based on sort of the sight lines I'm seeing, would going out into the balcony expose myself in a more dangerous way?
Slightly, maybe?
Okay. I'm going to first give it a second while Orba is keeping watch and looking at the room. I'm going to sort of keep a watch here inside for a moment.
Sure. Are you looking around the room, or are you checking on the supervisor? What's the...
I'll peek out and make sure the supervisor's still busy with his flames.
So as you sort of take a look out, you can see now the supervisor and the sentinel that has now sort of run over. The two of them were like breaking up the piece of wood, trying to get them away from the dock, so it didn't set them all ablaze. Now it seems like the two of them are sort of shuffling back in towards the depot.
Towards the house.
Yep. And you can kind of hear, because they fling it open wide, there's sort of a... And it sounds like there's a little rummaging, and then you see them come out onto the catwalk, and they're both holding nets. And it looks like they're like trying to net the pieces of boat so that it doesn't fall down the waterfall. You can see they're both sort of like, they have these big nets that are, they're trying to like keep the pieces from, getting deposited down to Bob. So that's currently what they're busy with.
Erland confirming that they are both still very busy down there. And then I'm gonna take a deeper look into that specific level.
Give me an investigation check.
First
10.
roll.
10.
Oh, not bad.
So just to recap some of the things, I mean, you saw
Yes.
some of the things at a glance. Bed, wardrobe, trunk with the lock. There's a sort of unlit lantern. There's a mug. Some personal items. You saw the portrait of the young woman. You saw the shield on the wall with the tiger logo. And again, the wardrobe has a spare couple pairs of trousers, a spare couple hats, and an extra jacket.
Right.
You do go over to the trunk and you give it a little pull, and it does seem like the lock's old, but it is locked on there. I mean, you don't see the key around, and it sort of doesn't open immediately. And outside on the deck, you take another quick look out there. There's a little hammock on one corner and a small table with looks like a half-drunk bottle of mead or wine, and there is a mug out there.
Okay. I'm gonna take a closer look at the ceiling and how, like the roof, how it comes and meets the balcony. Like, could I assess if we'd be physically capable of like hoisting ourselves onto the roof if need be?
You would. It's probably, 8-ish feet up.
So it's high.
You could definitely like put your foot on one of the railings
Yeah.
and push yourself up there if you needed to. But yeah, there's definitely no way to access it from inside. You'd have to go out on the balcony and
Right.
get up there.
Okay. Great. That's it? Okay.
Are you going out on the balcony? Or are you just looking around? Okay. Then that's it.
Great. Okay.
Great.
I found no other specifics, Erland. Everything seems to be pretty bare bones here.
I can't quite see the closest part of the camp. I might need to go onto the balcony outside, but I think I should wait until the two men have sort of resumed normalcy. Yes. Would it be hard from that balcony, if I were to go out on the balcony, would I be very easily visible to the sentinel walking back and forth along the walkway?
No, I mean, again, their attention's pretty much in the other direction towards the lake at the moment. I mean, they would have to look up there intentionally. You wouldn't just see that easily, sort of, in your peripheral vision.
At the moment, they're currently on the catwalk. I'm imagining they might be drawing some eyes up north anyway, so maybe wait until, they're back doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Yes, I think that I should spend most of my time probably on the balcony, but perhaps allow things to settle down for a moment.
Yes, I would agree. That seems smart.
Don't break that lock, by the way.
I wasn't going to. Maybe.
You taking a peek outside?
Oh, yeah, so
Just through the window.
Yeah, no, so at the window I want to kind of just position myself in a way that I can sort of start to get a sense of the camp, see who's around.
Give me a perception check.
I'll do it with naked eye first.
Sure.
17.
17. So at the moment, you can see
My life is going to be perception checks for the next 3.5 hours.
it looks like there are at least, and I'm just using sort of placeholders here because I don't have enough horses. On horseback, there are 3 sentries, sort of
Oh, interesting.
riding between the towers. And they're on horseback.
So we're just going to run in and kill all these guys, right?
This is not to scale. Those people are not humongous.
They're taller than the watchtowers.
They're enormous.
And you sort of watch them, and one of them's coming kind of back towards in your direction. And as that person's coming back in your direction, you can see that they have very distinct red and black markings, both on their clothing and on the horses, identifying them as Black Lion barbarians. It would seem that they have some kind of agreement to provide security measures for the camp. They're sort of running this sort of sentinel sort of watch between the towers. There is a guard who is not wearing red and black, who seems to be sort of the camp at the so this is south, north, east, west. Yes. So at the south.
No. Really?
Yes.
The lake is not east.
Yeah.
That is east.
No. Yeah. The lake is west.
The lake is west.
Yeah.
Okay. Jesus. Okay.
Yes.
West.
Yep.
North.
So at the southwest entrance, this is clearly, you can clearly see this as an entrance to the camp.
Yes.
There is a guard stationed there.
Okay.
brown padded leather armor. He's got a metal breastplate and a spear in hand. Doesn't seem to have... I mean, he looks like he's armed similar to the guy that was walking the catwalk, but they don't seem to have any particular identifying insignia of any kind.
I'm sorry, I was orienting myself. He's just outside the camp there?
Yes,
and
he's like watching this door into the...
And is he wearing the same regalia as the dude walking the catwalk?
Yeah, similar. I mean, they don't have the exact same uniform, but yeah, padded leather with a breastplate over it, simple sort of skull cap
And
helmet.
that, I believe, is where they said the entrance was.
Yes, that is where certainly it looks like one entrance is there. You can definitely see that.
Great.
And it looks like there are a couple of sort of camp workers, laborers on the balconies of the large sort of barracks building. So you can see them. A few of them are kind of resting, sitting on stools, sort of just relaxing and sort of in their off time or shift or whatever they're doing at the time. And other than that, activity on the ground is pretty quiet. There's someone with a blue arming hood, one of those arming hoods that you've seen, walking towards the inn and barracks. He seemed to have been leaving the sort of main building and headed back towards the barracks. And a pair of laborers seem to be kind of washing barrels and crates in the river on the west side, kind of up near the lake, kind of just up near there-ish. Just in the river. They just kind of, they're dunking a few things, scrubbing a few things. You can see that.
Okay, so
That's what you can see.
now that everyone's got kind of a general lay of the land, we're going to take the spyglass out and going to take our time on this. Just sort of go from building to building. Really, all the let's start with the sort of sentinel watchtowers and start with the sentinels patrolling, and then sort of go building to building and sort of just see if there's anything to be learned. See if I can see inside that glass roofed building.
Great. Give me a perception check.
Nat 20.
Ooh.
That's
So a few things that you notice right away. Take a look at the sentry towers first. You can see once again now sort of in clearer detail, sort of up near the top there is a balcony that runs all the way around. And it kind of has these large arched doors that don't have a door. They're just open. They're like these little archways. And you can see someone on the inside. It looks like at least one or two people kind of sitting on the interior there.
on the ground level.
No, up on these.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're not on the balcony, but they're up high, like the balcony extends out from the main sort of portion. And you can also see that each of the towers has what looks to be a flagpole, sort of a wooden flagpole that sticks out.
Oh, ow. Oh.
Yep, towards the camp. And you can see sort of like some folded fabric near the banisters. You can't see what's on the flags, but it looks like they can raise
Different color fabrics.
It's hard to tell.
Okay.
Right now they're just all sitting in a pile, so it's hard to tell.
And there's a couple. Yeah.
See the colors.
In each tower, there's a couple people in each one.
Certainly, you can see the two closer ones. You can definitely see there's at least a couple of people in each one. It's hard to tell though. For the farthest one, even with the spyglass, that's pretty far.
Okay. Do they look Black Lion?
They do not. No.
Ooh, interesting.
Ooh, cute.
And then, yes, let's start with the glass ceilinged building.
Great. So you can peer into that, and it does seem, which seemed to be sort of indicated on the map, there is at least one large pool of water in this building. There's sort of a bath or some kind of cleaning area, something. You can see down into it. You don't see any people in there at the moment. And then sort of from the parts of it that you can see from up here lining the walls, there's a number of racks that have towels, cloths, things like that. It's like that.
Myconid spa?
You guys had it all wrong. It's really nice here.
It's actually just a relaxation.
We're blowing up
White collar
vacation.
prison.
It's a resort. Like, it's very relaxing.
Jillian's like, they wouldn't let me into the resort.
Oh wow.
This is a different mission than we thought.
So then let's, from the angle I'm at, can I see in through the sort of open chimney of what we assume is the electrolysis room?
It's a short kind of chimney, and the angle that you're looking at, you really cannot see.
No smoke coming out of it?
Not the moment. No.
Is that what that small center circle is on that? It's a chimney?
Yes,
Okay.
on your map, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Next,
Yes, it is. It's very wide. It's not like a typical chimney. It's much wider than your average chimney.
I'm going to focus now along the river itself, and I want to like look with the spyglass through the river to see if I can see through the water at all, to see if I can see anything.
You definitely cannot. Again, I think I said, it's moving rapidly enough
moving?
that it's sort of
Okay.
choppy, and you cannot see through the water. No.
And then just this, again, glancing from building to building to building, seeing if anything.
That's it. Most of them, because that was the only one that had sort of an opening, they're closed off. You can't see inside it, and there isn't, again, a lot of activity on the ground other than the people kind of moving around the perimeter. It's fairly, things are fairly calm at the moment.
Okay, gonna take the spyglass down so that I can get sort of just a large view of the space and have it at the ready in case I see movement or anything.
Sure.
But that's really what I'm looking for now, I think, is any sort of movement that feels different from the general lay of the land right now.
Great. So you sort of do that. What are you doing during this time as he's sort of you're just keeping an eye?
I'll poke out one more time to make sure they're still on the catwalk.
They're currently still netting pieces of wood. They're sort of waiting for a couple other pieces to come, and they're sort of making sure. They look a little nervous, like they don't, if they let a piece fall down in the camp, they're going to get in trouble.
Is, like, contaminated.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna peek out in, the window that's facing how we entered the building to try to get a glimpse of maybe Jillian or Graven, if I can see them.
You do not, but
Okay.
they could very well just be not speaking out.
Totally.
You know,
Yeah. That's fine. Okay, I'm gonna get some ink, a quill, and a parchment, and I guess station myself closest to the window that has the guys on the catwalk, just so I can,
Sure.
like, if I'm writing, I can just take a quick peek.
So
and
that's the
check in.
north-facing window, yeah.
Great. All right, so I'm facing
Because
north.
the catwalk runs across the river, so that would be the north-facing
Turned
window.
around.
Great. Okay. Yeah. So I'm hold up.
Should play some window sand right now.
Oh, that sweet game
only
of
you
window
knew the
sand. I know. I really want
If
to
I had
take
rolled
roles.
better, I could have learned window sand.
He sees down there a bunch of people playing Windows.
Just throwing sand out the window.
Okay. So I guess as I hunker down, Orba's just gonna go. Psst. Hold up her quill. Anything?
I'm gonna, if they're still outside, I'm gonna just relay the sort of, what sort of seems to be the resting state of the sort of place, including the black lions and the flags.
And just so you guys know, you got up here at about noon. We'll call it about noon that you guys got up here.
Great.
Okay.
And you would have a general idea because you've been traveling. The sunset is around 7, so you need to be out of here before. Jillian said to meet at the meeting spot right before the sun went down. So you want to get
So
out
we
of
have
here.
like 6 hours.
Yeah,
Okay.
before.
Okay. Okay. Other things if you want to take a look out for, if there's any other access points like sewers leading into the building or windows or garbage chutes or something like that, or places to hide in the landscape or anything like that, maybe.
Okay, Erland's gonna,
We've got a lot of time.
Yeah,
You don't
yeah.
have to do it right away.
No, I mean, I guess if I'm waiting here, I'll pull out the spyglass and sort of see from what I can see if there's any, like sewers or hiding places.
Not that you can tell. A lot of it, just because of the interior, exterior, there isn't much on the exterior. The buildings are solid and you can't see into them.
Windowless buildings as well?
There might be some windows here. There's none that you can see into that you can tell. There might be some windows. There does not look to be any windows on the main Electrolysis lab. There was the windowed roof of that one. There might be some there, but it's hard to get a view from here. It's very... The angle that you have, the windows would be in the side, so it's very difficult to tell.
Well, but like, I would like to note which buildings do have windows for perhaps...
It seems like this main sort of portion here might have some windows in it, yeah.
Okay. And then I assume the sort of barracks
Yeah,
area
the barracks
as
has
well.
lots of windows, balconies, yeah. Alright,
Okay.
what do you guys think for a moment?
Yep.
Jillian and Graven. Satisfied that Erland and Orba have ascended to the top floor, and that the guards are otherwise occupied, the two of them, you peek out and you kind of watch them go into the building, grab a couple nets, and come out and start to fish things out. They hunker down behind a small, sort of grassy crag that keeps them close to the operations depot, but mostly out of sight. And from here they can see up to the balcony and the roof deck without exposing themselves. Though to get a look at the front door or any of the sentries on the catwalk, you would have to sort of carefully poke your head out. Jillian sort of settles herself, gives Graven a nod. And she starts sort of removing her backpack, sort of places it kind of in her lap as she sits. And the rock barrier is kind of muffling the noise of the rushing water and keeps the breeze coming off the lake to a manageable draft. Though occasionally a gust kind of sends dirt and a little bit of dry grass tumbling down that gets stuck in Jillian's hair. You seem very calm, Graven. I cannot tell if I should be impressed or worried. I've, as I'm sure you assumed, got a little task for us to fill the hours. But I wanted to request something of you first. You, of all people, do not shy away from brutality when it is necessary. And she takes her bag. She reaches into her bag, and she pulls out what at first appears to be kind of a glass tube, about 3 inches in diameter and maybe 6 inches in length. And both of the ends look to be sort of welded with metal caps on both ends. And there's some kind of blackish and deep purple fluid or gas trapped inside it. This is a very small canister of necrocilium. You've seen the effects of it before at the East Pucara crossing when you rescued me. Now, I don't have enough here to eradicate the harvesting yard, not by a long shot. But I do have enough to blow up a room or two. Now, I gave Safira my word that I would not go forward with the destruction of this camp without first digging into who might be pulling the strings, and I intend to keep that promise. But I always have a contingency plan. I know that blasting just a part of the camp isn't going to shut it down entirely, but it might suppress production or distribution for a short while, which, depending on what we find that it's being used for, might be a very useful stalling tactic. Again, a last resort. When we get down below, you're going to be a part of the team that makes their way to the electrolysis lab. If you manage to get inside, I'd like you to hide 2 of these canisters as best you can inside the lab. And I'd like you to try and do it without being noticed. And she reaches in her bag and she takes out another one. And she's got 2 of them.
He's the biggest man.
As best I can.
She hands them over to you. On the bottoms of these canisters are inscribed glyphs of warding, an explosive rune that can be triggered at a time of my choosing. They are otherwise well secured. You don't need to worry about setting one off accidentally. The crossing is where I got the idea for the necrocilium. You don't see it used all that much anymore. It's expensive to produce, and the explosions are actually fairly contained. Not ideal if you're looking to cause maximum damage. Its necrotic properties, however, are extremely effective against organic matter, which seemed ideal for this particular contingency plan. It's also very effective against shapeshifters and were creatures, an interesting but unrelated bit of information. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right. Now, as I anticipated, she kind of peeks ever so slightly out and then ducks back down. She can see that the people are still sort of working their way on the balcony, still with their nets. As I anticipated, getting to the structure on the other side of the waterfall, with the hatch leading down, is going to be tricky. Walking around the lake's perimeter eats up far too much of our precious nighttime. And even under cover of darkness, using the catwalk seems tremendously risky. We'd need to distract the sentinel long enough to get 6 people across. And there's nowhere to hide for the entire length of the footpath. And it's even lit with lanterns at night, and she points, and you can see the hooks along the path where they hang, and you can see these sort of metal hooks. They don't have lanterns on them at the moment, but you can tell that people sort of to light up the length of the bridge. Unless the entire camp goes to sleep promptly at sundown, which I doubt, our odds of being spotted are dangerously high. Instead, I thought we'd take the time we have now to create our own kind of bridge. My intelligence has told me that on the other side of the operations depot, there should be a set of doors leading down to a cellar, where they have stored spare construction materials, planks of wood, roofing, mortar, and most importantly, quite a bit of rope. You see those beams holding up the catwalk. You can look underneath, and like there's beams underneath. They go down to the riverbed. It looks like they put them down and sort of buried them in the riverbed so that they hold up the catwalk to keep it sturdy and not like sort of a tenuous bridge. We're going to secure lengths of rope between those beams, just above water level. Being partially submerged, and the aggressive spray from the waterfall should keep us well hidden from below, and the catwalk will cover us overhead. In the nighttime, we should be even less detectable, and the ropes will allow the group to work the way across after we've set it up. So how do you fancy a swim, Graven?
Sounds good.
We won't have a great view of the main entrance to the operations depot, but I think Erland and Orba can manage things on their own for a little while. We should be able to easily see if people are passing overhead through the slats in the catwalk. So if we see a number of people coming, we can always throw an emergency colored rock or whatever to signal to them. What do you think?
I think it's a good idea. There's no way we're getting across that catwalk, and taking a boat across would never work. We have to get into the basement of the structure across the waterfall.
Yes. I don't know if there's an easy way to do that, but getting across to the other side is step one.
Do you want to go farther back towards the lake to swim across? Swimming underneath the catwalk.
What do you mean?
How
You may be
far-
confused. Sorry, what are you...
Where are we swimming?
So you are... So there's these...
Repeat that.
Like 20 feet in from the edge of the waterfall is the catwalk. It runs
Yeah.
across this sort of flowing portion of the river. And underneath the catwalk are these beams that go
Yeah.
all the way across.
Oh, and
she wants to
literally
take the
just kind
rope and go beam to beam
Yeah.
and tie ropes around each of the beams all the way across.
Yeah.
So it makes this kind of like you can grab the rope and pull yourself through.
But that means in daylight, going kind of
Yes.
underneath the catwalk.
Yes.
Yes.
So you're not swimming like far, but you're swimming between
Right.
the beams so that
Got
you
it.
can tie the ropes between the beams.
We'll try to be subtle, I suppose. Hasn't always been my strong suit, but
Like I said, we're a little bit away from the edge of the waterfall. I can't imagine anyone will see us from the bottom.
no.
The only risk is from above, but even so, we'll be underneath the catwalk itself, so it's unlikely that he's going to peer down and see us. The biggest risk is anyone coming from, and she sort of motions, where we came from. If you're coming from one of the other portions of the lake, you can clearly get a view of the side of the catwalk. If that happens, maybe we take a deep breath. But I do have something for that. And she reaches into her bag.
Jeez.
And she takes out 2 potion bottles that have kind of a swirling blue liquid in them.
Nice.
Potion of water breathing.
Excellent.
This girl.
Only in case of an emergency, and only if we need to duck under the water for an extended period of
How
time.
long should this last?
For an hour.
Whoa.
Wow.
That's really cool. She's thought of everything.
We will have to remove our armor and our backpacks and leave them here for the time being.
Kaboo, kaboo.
They're going to weigh us down, get wet. That will be a problem.
Not practical, no. It's fine.
All right. That's fine. My favorite kind of attitude. And she starts to kind of unbuckle some of her leather, sort of her greaves and her sort of... And they start to take it off. She sort of pulls over the leather thing. She sort of strips down into just sort of a basic kind of under tunic and things like that. She leaves her boots on for the time being. And she sort of gives a little look, and she watches, and it looks at this point, the supervisor and the sentinel seem to have netted up the majority of the pieces of the boat, or what they think they're going to get, and the 2 of them are kind of chatting, and you can see the supervisor kind of reach out to... And the sentinel sort of nods, and he turns around, he begins his sort of watch along the catwalk again, and the supervisor seems to go back into the depot.
And we can conceivably carry those 2 the potions.
Yeah, you have like a little belt loop, and like there's some little bags along your belt. She's not removing everything. It's just, you're not carrying your main backpack, and you're not armed, and you're not. She seems to have kept like a little blade, strapped to her in case she had cut the rope or something. But she,
Right.
you can keep your weapon if you'd like, just the mace.
No.
Okay.
I don't want that clanging around.
Great. She sort of peeks, and she watches him go, and she sort of taps you. I think now's our time.
All right.
Oh my gosh.
Make a give me a stealth check with advantage.
Go, Graven,
You guys sort of
go.
wait.
Swim, little fishy. Big fish.
Oh, come on.
5.
5.
No.
So as you start to
Falls
move,
in.
immediately you're sort of bracing and waiting for that, and Jillian hops over and she kind of starts to move towards around the side of the operation. And you wait for her for a second and then lift yourself up, and right as you do, the supervisor is kind of walking by the window.
Oh my god.
And he kind of turns out a little bit, and you duck down kind of behind a rock formation. And you can Jillian sort of saw that happen for a moment, and she's got her back against like another rock formation. She saw you kind of duck down, and you can hear her, she's sort of whispering loudly, "Wait, Graven. Yes. Wait."
Yes.
And Jillian kind of peers over.
Oh no.
I don't hear anything. Just wait. There's another she waits kind of 30 seconds to go by.
45 seconds.
Yep. And you don't. She peeks out again. The door hasn't opened. All right, come on.
I'm just gonna peek.
Give me a perception check as you peek out there.
Holy moly, that was too early for that.
8.
8. He's no longer in the window. It doesn't seem like he's at the window, like
Right,
looking
right.
around.
But
It seems like you don't see him. He seems to be in the house somewhere that you don't see.
Okay.
Murdering Erland and Orba.
Kind of heavy whisper. Here I come.
I gotta
Alright.
do that.
Give me another stealth check with advantage.
Come on, baby.
Come on.
Oh.
Ooh. 18.
Okay.
So this time you sort of opportunistically, you don't see him, and you don't even wait this time, kind of how you did. You just immediately get up and go. And you both get to what is the south side of the operations depot. So you're on the opposite side of the catwalk. The two of you kind of run up. You pass by the door on your left in, and you move around the outside. And she sort of shuffles around. She peeks around the corner. Cellar's over here. And she starts to move. And you follow her. And we're going to go over to...
What are we doing?
What are you doing?
Don't be so worried.
Beezaura and Safira, goods acquired, make their way carefully back in the direction of Lake Golkan, stepping delicately through the grass so as not to set off any additional traps that might be lurking within. From here you can't quite make out the spot where the wagon had been stopped along the shoreline. A few sparse trees are kind of obscuring your vision, but if you continue down the hill, you should be able to see if they're still stationed there. At the moment, you also do not see any of the people that you heard that kind of came over, was like looking, and someone else called. You don't see them. It seems like they've gone back in the direction of where they came from, back at the wagon. Though it's been a couple of hours since you split from the rest of the group, the sun is strong overhead. You're well on track to make your evening rendezvous. What are you doing?
So we don't see anybody. Nothing.
You right now you can't. Yes, you can't. But you also, from where you are,
Oh,
you
we're
can't
down
see where the
at the
wagon
cave
was.
still. we
Yeah, you're a little
came up?
further up from the shoreline.
Okay.
Yeah. So you have to get closer back to the shoreline to be able to see the spot where the wagon had stopped.
Oh, okay, yeah, but we're above. We're out of the cave onto
Yep,
the grass.
out of the cave, in the grass.
Going
Yep.
back the way we came.
Headed back towards the lake. Yep.
Yeah. Safira. Yeah. We have a bit of time. Should we investigate? I don't see any of the people or the wagon.
Look, if we investigate, we're gonna have to be very careful. If they see us, we've completed our task. Yeah, okay. Okay.
I suggest
Okay.
maybe we just stay low to the ground, keep an eye out for traps, and just keep our head towards the grass.
Okay. very quiet. We're not going to engage with them, to be clear.
I don't see anybody to engage with right now, but
No,
if we do...
No. If we see anybody to engage with, we will not be engaging with them.
Okay.
Okay?
I just
I
agreed.
feel like that's... Okay, alright. And I'm gonna kind of like
I'll lead, okay?
hunker down, but I'm trying
Yeah.
to get on Beezaura's level.
The tall grass lasts for a little bit, but as you get closer to the shore, it does get shorter and kind of thin out a little bit. But for
Okay.
now, you're sort of in the taller grass area.
So I'm gonna go forward.
Give me stealth checks, both of you.
Do better than me.
Nat 20!
Nice job. I'm
Dirty
so
20.
stealthy. Oh, we're
Nice.
so stealthy.
So the two of you, having formulated a solid plan for
Yeah,
sneaking
sounds
forward,
really
the two of you quietly, and again, you're traversing back terrain you've already gone, so
Right.
you sort of quietly make your way through the grasses, and even as the grass kind of thins out, there are a few trees, and you keep yourself you sort of navigate between them, make sure that there's no kind of open sight lines. And you get a little closer to the shore, you're kind of getting to where that boulder
The
was in the
boulder,
little
yeah.
peninsula. And now you can see off to your left, they seem to be still at that spot where the wagon stopped. And the thing that they took out of the wagon is still down on the ground. There's 3 people. They seem to have resumed whatever they were doing when they were interrupted when they heard you.
Can we see do we get a better sense of...
What they're actually doing.
Yeah.
Give me a
What's
perception.
on
Give me
there?
perception checks, both of you.
Oh my god.
Oh, yeah.
Nat 20. Wow.
8.
38.
Beezaura's like,
Crazy 8s.
So you take the opportunity to kind of creep a little bit closer, just another 15, 20 feet, and you peek out from behind one of the trees. It looks like they have set the apparatus down on the ground, and now that you can get a sort of precise look at it, it does seem very similar to the glass sort of canisters that you've seen before. One at the Festival of Omasu, one in Brick Rock. Although this one's much smaller. It's this big as opposed to like the other ones were quite large, like almost like as big as a person. So this one seems to like be a little smaller one. They put it on the ground, and there's a crank near it, and one of them is in the process of sort of cranking. And you can see one of the pipes that they'd hooked up to it is going down into the ground. You can't tell if it's going into the water, but it's definitely going down into the ground. Yes.
Does it look like this?
It looks very much.
It looks a lot like this?
Yes, and they have
They
it.
wouldn't know what that is.
No, I don't know what that
They
is.
don't know
They
what
know
it
what that
is.
is?
Also,
This is a visual aid.
But we saw the one downstairs on the thing.
Yeah, so you've.
yes.
It did look like that. It just didn't have the crank with it at the
But you
moment.
know what I mean. In the school,
This looks exactly like
It looks
this.
very similar to that. Yes.
Right.
What we have seen
that's
does
great
not
that
look
you
exactly
know
like
that,
this.
because
Well, it
we're
looks
not
like the
seeing
canister,
that.
but not the crank.
This is more
Right.
visual aid.
You started this.
That's like
Like,
a different
figure it out.
visual, but something we saw something.
You have seen
with the
if you cover up that there, that's what you've
Yes.
seen before.
Yes.
Yes.
So I mean, it's recognizable.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes, it
obviously,
is recognizable. But now you see
not gonna nod
there
give
is
you
a
a hard
crank
time.
next to it.
So only Safira
in
saw
Brick
added to
Rock-
Orba.
Not yet, but she can talk to you.
In Brick Rock, there was a switch, not a crank, right?
Yes, the two that you've seen before did not have cranks next.
Great.
Safira,
Good thing I didn't tell anyone.
can you see anything?
Yeah, I see something that I definitely recognize.
Can you tell me what it is?
You've seen it, you remember, underneath the... sorry.
It was in the
Festival.
school.
The Festival of Amaso and in Brick
like
Rock.
the
you don't know what that- you don't know what that was.
Yeah,
Well, we saw,
but
like,
the,
the place where
the
people
thing
were-
underneath Brick Rock.
Yeah,
the,
yeah.
So sort of, yeah.
Do you remember being underground, Brick Rock?
Yes.
That pumping mechanism that was pumping some kind of vapor?
I knew it.
It looks like they're pumping it into the ground.
With the pipes that they were holding before.
With the kind of mechanism that they were using in other places, yeah.
Can only be one thing.
Well, I think we know that. No.
And can I ask a question? Where the boulder is and where they are, like when we have to go meet them, do we have to go back that way or do we have to go back the other way?
Meet who? Like Jillian to meet
Yeah.
back up? You'd be going away from where they are.
Okay.
Yeah. They never got to the point of the boulder in the peninsula. They stopped further in the distance. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So they're
So
kind of far
as far as
away
you know,
still.
they've never traversed. The only time they've traversed this far was when he heard something and came over to.
So they're not.
They're a good couple hundred feet. Yeah, maybe
Okay,
150, 200 feet away from you. Yeah, past the boulder.
So it looks like they're piping it into the ground all the way out here.
It must serve some kind of purpose. We don't even know what the side effects of doing something like this could be, but we have to tell Jillian when we see her. I think
I say this is as far as we come since we know what they're doing.
I agree.
And you can see them out there. It looks like a couple of them have one of them's cranking, and then they sort of like shake out their arms, and you can see them have kind of not a heated exchange, but a little argument where one of them's kind of like, and one of the other ones comes over and sort of starts doing the cranking themselves. So they're kind of taking turns doing the cranking as it's sort of,
Do you think... Oh, sorry.
Louder.
Do you think that it's regulated by the camp? Or that they're doing it on their own?
I mean, you said that they were in the uniform that we recognized. Or
No, I mean, again, they're not
okay.
wearing a uniform. They have this kind of padded leather armor with a breastplate over it. It's you haven't even seen the guy on the catwalk.
Is it uniform? Like they all are wearing the same kinds of thing? No.
Kinds of thing, yes. Not the same
Not the same
colors.
color,
I mean,
right.
it's mismatched. It does not look like a uniform they've been given out. No.
Right. Just wondering if maybe they'd taken it on their own and...
Look, I don't know, but I'd assume that this close to the camp, anything that happens, I mean, this out in the open would be sanctioned by the camp in some capacity.
And just to clarify, one of them did have one of those blue arming hoods.
Right.
That's the only
That's
uniform.
okay,
yeah.
But yes.
Okay.
And only one of them's wearing that, yes.
Okay. I say we take this information back to the others and try to get to the meeting site as quick as possible.
And I think, just to reiterate, I'm not sure about touching the water.
I wasn't planning on it.
Give me a couple more perception checks as you guys are standing here watching.
Why?
Come on, man.
19!
5.
So as Beezaura is kind of
so
formulating a
perceptive.
I have
plan.
all this grass in my eyes.
Safira looks out, and you see now one of them kind of like pointed, and another one kind of comes down and goes to the crank. And as they sort of pull up their pants a little bit to go to the crank, and as they sort of yank their pants up a little bit, a little piece of paper comes fluttering out.
Oh no, me and my
It
papers.
goes down sort of to the ground, and then they
Tempted
begin to
by
crank. And it
papers.
kind of falls like in the shallow water. It's kind of like floating right there at the shoreline.
Oh. Well, you're trying to tempt us. Anything else? That does not sound good.
No, it's just... One of them dropped a piece of paper and it's floating in the water, which I just said we shouldn't touch.
Is anything happening to it?
No, nothing's happening to it. I'm just wondering what's on it. I just... Yeah.
We do have time if you want to wait till it floats our way.
I mean, what direction is it floating in? Like,
It's
is
not.
it's
It's
just
right in the
stagnant
shallow water. It's like kind of pushing up against the ground, but it's not like going in any direction. It's just kind of like slowly butting up
Is it
against.
moving towards us at all?
It isn't.
Look, it doesn't look like it's moving.
Well,
If they drop something, we have time. The
wait till
others,
they leave.
they look like they're making rounds. At some point, they might be finished. If we wait, if we're patient, it's a long shot, but if that piece of paper has any useful information about anything that's going on in the camp, I hardly think we can ignore it.
Well, I can agree to wait a bit of time. We do have
We wait,
a couple
and
hours.
only if they're out of sight do we grab it.
How long should we wait?
Well, we've got time. How long will it take us to get back up
So it
to...
took you like a couple of hours to get all the way here, get the stuff from the cave. It'll take you another couple hours to get back, and you left them around 11. So I mean, you probably have a
Yeah,
couple
we have a
hours.
couple of
Yeah,
hours,
you definitely have a couple.
I say we wait an hour, see where we stand.
Okay, let's hope they make quick work of whatever it is they're doing.
Well, I say we get comfortable here in the grass.
Yeah.
Great. Give me stealth checks with advantage as you kind of find a spot to hunker down here, sort of observe with advantage.
All right. Thank you.
16.
Yeah, 18.
18. Great. So you find you go up a little bit towards where the sort of taller grasses are, but where you could still sort of get a sight line of them, and you kind of hunker down. You get low to the ground. You sort of keep an eye, and again, they sort of continue to work for a little while. A couple of them take turns at the pump, and some time passes. And then it starts to look like one of them kind of... And it looks like they start to pack up their things. One of them kind of goes over, and one of them's kind of looks like they're unscrewing a section of the pipe, and they sort of get it undone, and they pull it up out of the ground. They kind of put it back in the wagon, and the other one's kind of waiting at the sort of canister, and the two of them sort of, and they kind of slowly put it back into the wagon. Seems like they're starting to pack up.
Safira, they're packing up their things. Yeah. Okay, just don't get too excited. Just wait a moment. Just.
I'm waiting.
Okay.
And then you hear
Sorry.
a bit of rumbling
Oh boy.
coming from behind you, the direction that you came from after parting with the rest of the group.
What?
You see 3 people
Oh, for fuck's sake.
approaching fast on horseback. Red and black adornments on their bridles, saddles,
I'm so scared.
and dyed animal hide cloaks along the shoreline. And as they come roaring past, you're met with a cacophony of hooves and hollers. They seem to be trying to get the attention of the people who are sort of working at the edge of the lake there, sort of, and they're waving, and they're, and they ride by. Give me perception checks as they ride by.
Oh, Nelly.
Come on. 6.
10.
You don't notice anything about. So they ride by.
It's all a big blur.
The sort of very briefly as you notice, it seems like 2 of them are very sort of well armored with multiple weapons strapped up to them.
Oh, gosh.
And one of them, sort of the one leading the pack, is a woman who's dressed very lightly in cloth. And you see a couple of forearm and shin guards and a necklace with bones, sort of up and down the sides of the arms and around
Do
the
I
neck.
notice if her legs are moving at all?
If her legs are moving.
Isn't the lady? I don't know.
Which lady?
Lady sang wrong, sang whatever her name.
Well, you haven't met Lady Singerlaw.
I know of her.
Oh, you're saying is she
on the
in a
front?
wheelchair? Like, is she crippled? Is
Yeah.
You can't tell that from her riding. No.
Oh, the bones. I don't know. It's just-
You also don't necessarily have a reason to believe that she's a Black Lion barbarian.
No, yeah, I don't. I'm just,
yes.
just asking.
No,
Sorry.
no, that's okay. You do not get that impression when she rides by.
Would the
don't know, she
bones
was-
mean anything in particular to...
They
noticed-
don't. You're not terribly familiar with Black Lions, but you've heard a little bit about.
Could it be linked to necromancy? Would I be able to make that deduction?
You might be
Really
able to
human bones.
posit that. Yes, you don't know that for sure, but
Right,
it's
okay.
definitely
We're
possible.
asking like, what do we know?
Yeah, tell us
Who
more.
is this lady?
Roll
So
the
you
strong
watch
check.
them. And sort of the dust kicks up in the rocks along the shore, and you guys kind of duck behind. You sort of watch them head over, and they seem to ride up very quickly to these laborers, and you can see them have a very heated exchange. And the Black Lions point repeatedly in the direction kind of to the south, over your heads, behind you. And at one point, the woman that was leading the pack gets off her horse. And she goes up to one of the laborers, and it seems like they get very, very close. Like their faces are very close. It seems like she's kind of yelling in his face. And it seems as if for a moment they might come to blows. But after a bit of a stare down, she yells one final thing loudly that you're able to make out a little bit of. Calluses! Trouble in the calluses! And you can see some of the laborers kind of look at her and like motion as if they can't help them, you know. And they point in the direction of the camp, sort of over the lake. And there's sort of an angry sort of standoff between the Black Lion barbarians and these laborers. And finally, she gets back up on her horse, and they start to turn around and head back sort of in your general direction. And the laborers continue to pack up their things, and they're turning the oxen around to head in the opposite direction. So they're heading in the other way, away from you guys, and the Black Lions are heading toward you. And now we're going to go over.
Oh.
Did he say one of them was a Goliath?
No.
Why were you talking about Shangri-La?
Just because I heard lady and bones, and I just
Lady with bones.
I was like, what did I miss?
I just got
Okay.
nervous that she was here with like another tooth, and I don't know.
Another two.
Guys, there's a lot going on. Just
Great.
trying.
It's great.
Anyway.
We're about to get really confused, so it's fine.
Yep.
So we return, where you guys have been kind of keeping watch. And at this point, you've heard as Jillian and Graven saw, you've heard the supervisor kind of, not heard, but Orba's been keeping an eye on you, kind of watched him re-enter. You've kept an eye sort of just carefully down the edge of the staircase, and it does not seem like he's come up to the second floor yet. It seems like he's rummaging around on the first floor as far as you can tell. You haven't seen him go anywhere else. So Erland continues to take a look. And so this is the hour between kind of noon and 1 o'clock now that you're watching out in the camp. Give me a perception check.
16.
It looks like, in addition to the supervisor sort of coming back to the building, which Orba relays to you very quickly, you can hear there is sort of a thumping a little bit that's over the waterfall, and Orba sees this as well, but you hear it. It seems like he's coming up to the second floor. But he does not come up to the third floor, so you hear a little bit of thumping, and it sounds like you hear kind of a stool moving across, and seems like he's gone back to his office, sort of sitting at his desk. You get that impression from the sounds that you hear. And as you look out into the camp, you notice that every 15 minutes or so, a dense pillar of smoke rises from the circular building, sort of chimney. And it lasts only very briefly, maybe a minute, maybe even less. It's sort of a... and then it sort of dissipates. And that happens about every 15 minutes. And the smoke has an ever so slight bluish hue to it as it rises into the atmosphere. And it gets to be around 1 o'clock, sort of pushing at the end of the hour. And as it gets around 1 p.m., you notice a small flurry of activity as a number of camp workers exit the narrower north building, the barracks. A number of people come out of here. Okay. And they make for different parts of the camp. One of them heads to the guard at the southeast entrance and relieves him. He sort of walks up to him. The two of them have a little exchange. And they seem to give each other a kind of signal. Give me a perception check.
Oh,
Come on, man.
baby.
Give me the good rolls.
Please.
Can I, since there's a flurry of movement, can I pull out the spyglass?
I'm going to assume, I'm lumping that
okay,
in.
great. Like anytime I see movement, I'm pulling out this.
It's seen specific movement, yeah.
6.
So they're kind of facing each other and they're close. One of them is holding a spear and they bring their hand up and they do something, but it's behind their back and you can't see what it is. And the two of them kind of exchange this sort of, motion. And then the one of them that was there before heads off in the direction of the barracks and he, takes his post there, stands there.
Okay, and then the guy who was there goes back to the...
Yeah, so a new person has come out of the barracks, gone.
Yep.
There's a little bridge. There's a couple of spots where you can cross the river that aren't terribly deep. He gets across, goes to this guy, deals the little handshake, and then this person goes back towards the barracks.
Okay. Did you say a bunch of people?
Yeah, so there's a few people. So one of them does that. One of them heads to the northeast, where they disappear from sight behind the farthest structure, this structure. So he comes out of here, and he heads behind here, which you can't see.
Is that something that could be? Is that something I could be able to see if I went out onto the patio?
No.
Okay.
The way the structure of the building is, it's tall enough that you just can't see behind it. But you do notice that very soon after he ducks... Can this light... Oh, yeah, it is right there. Yeah. After he ducks behind this building, someone else, a different person, comes out. So it looks like there is another place where... It looks like there is another place where guards are stationed somewhere over here. You can't see him standing at his post, but you get that impression.
Okay. Jesus.
I'm helping you. We got it.
Man, we really needed that ham symbol.
Yep.
A third person heads into the building with the glass roof. It looks like there is an entrance into this building on that side. You can't see the door from where you are, but there is an entrance somewhere over there into the glass building. You see a guard disappear into there, and a couple of minutes go by, and then someone else comes out and exits. So somewhere in there is another guard posted. Somewhere.
I guess.
Yes, you're surmising.
And that was at 1 p.m. Great.
This is all happening around 1 p.m. Yes,
Great.
They come out of the barracks at 1 p.m.
Yeah.
They take different amounts of time to get to their spot. So those three guards come out. Now you also notice that at each of the three sentry towers,
Sorry, can I ask a question about that before?
Go
Are any of the, particularly the entrance closest to us
This
right
one,
now,
yeah.
is that something that having with the spyglass tried to watch the motion?
Yes.
Is that something that if I went out onto the balcony, could I get a better angle on it, perhaps, so it's not blocked by their back or shoulder?
Perhaps.
Great.
Those two also, you don't know this for sure, you might be guessing, but those two got pretty close to each other when they did it. I mean, if they're standing a little further apart, you might have had a better view, but they got pretty close and kind of did something. And
Cool.
Then so.
They're really good friends. So
Yes.
Yeah.
They almost kissed. And they went on their way.
Cleared their hair.
At each of the 3 sentry towers, someone takes a moment to briefly raise a white flag. They go over to the flagpole that you've seen before. They sort of take a moment to rig something. They take something out of the pile.
Okay. These are the guys who are stationed in the towers?
Yes,
Or the...
on not on the balcony, but inside, just inside where the balcony is. So they step out onto the balcony. One of them kind of rummages through the pile, takes out a white flag, rigs it up, and pulls it out. And it goes all the way to the edge of the flagpole. And this happens at all 3 towers.
At the exact same time?
Basically.
Roughly. They're not signaling, they're all doing it.
Yes, they seem to
great.
all be doing it simultaneously.
And does it stay up?
They keep it up there for about 5 minutes, and then they bring it back down. And they put it into a pile that seems to have, now that they've picked up one of them, there does seem to be other colors of flags.
Can I tell what other color flags?
You cannot.
They work.
And did as they raise the white flag, if I focus on one of the guys raising it, can I see if they're looking around?
Give me a perception check.
14.
14. After they raise the flag, each of them seems to take out a spyglass, look at the other tower, put the spyglass away. It seems like they check the other 2 towers, see that they've seen the white flags, wait a couple of minutes, and then bring the flag back down.
Is the space large enough where they wouldn't be able to really tell that without the spyglasses?
The flags are decent size, but they seem to just, for precaution's sake, just take a look. Yes, the flags they could definitely see the flag in the distance, but
And these guys are adorned like the
padded leather breastplates.
Yeah.
Yep. They're not dressed like black lions. These ones.
Okay.
And it seems like Orba notices this as she's kind of keeping an eye on the non-camp stuff. It seems like the person that was manning the catwalk is relieved as well. A person of a different kind of stature is now coming in the opposite direction towards the operations depot. They look like a different person. So someone has come up. That doesn't happen exactly at 1. It seems like one of the people who came out of the barracks maybe made their way up this waterfall path that Jillian's been talking about. Comes all the way up and relieves the guy on the bridge.
So I'm assuming they came up from the ladder on the building on the other side.
That's, as far as you can tell, that's all you can surmise. You don't see them coming from any other direction. No.
Okay. Orba will, very quietly get within talking distance to Erland and tell him about the catwalk relief.
Okay.
Can I assume that you tell me everything?
I sure
that you
do.
saw? Great, cool.
Not the time or the place.
Dude, I'm gonna ask. Alright, cool.
I don't think I told you.
Great. I'll take my station back at the stairwell
Okay.
and write down everything.
What was the... This might be irrelevant. What was the weather like? Or is the waterfall moving so quickly that if I were to open the door, would a draft come rushing in? Would the temperature noticeably change in the room?
No, because the windows there is no window. There's windows cut. They're not glass filled. It's open.
Okay.
This room is because I think they're worried about the wind sort of structural damage of the building. They let the wind pass.
So
through
opening the
building.
door wouldn't cause a noticeable draft.
Okay. In his office, all the papers going.
All of his games. No, I was winning.
The window stand was almost done.
I was beating myself.
Yes, that would definitely not make a noticeable change at all.
Shut up. I knew that was going to bite me. I can't.
Okay. So once that flurry of movement seems to have
It seems to have
stopped.
Yep.
That was a dirty 20.
Erland's going to, I guess, when Orba and Erland come close together to sort of relay all this information to each other, do you think it's safe for me to perhaps go out into the balcony to try and get a better vantage point? I want to see I want to be able to see the hand signal when they switch guards again, and I don't know when that will be.
Right. I feel like as long as you stay prone, yes.
I think if I lie down and sort of.
Yes. Yes. The last I checked, the supervisor was still seated, so you should try. Will you be able to see me if I'm trying to signal to you that he's coming up?
I'll perch myself so I'm right outside the window. So in theory, if you just go to the window, and you should be able to get my attention.
Okay.
That makes sense, right? I'd be able to lie sort of underneath the window so that if she, great.
Okay.
Oh, if there's no, I don't even have to open the door. If there's no,
You could step out the window, yes.
would that be?
When I have to roll.
No, well, I
Is that
mean,
a
does that
athletics check?
is that a fairly easy thing to do?
It's
for
an
me
easy thing to
without-
do. The one thing is, if you step out the window that's facing towards the camp, no one has a necessarily reason to be looking up, but if someone looked up and saw someone stepping out the window, that's a little suspicious.
So the door on the door itself is hidden from view from the camp.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
You would not be able to see the door.
Is there a window on that side?
No, there's windows on either... Yeah, the side with the door out to the balcony
Doesn't have a window.
No.
Okay.
If I'm pressed for time, I also might just cast Mage Hand and give you a little tap. So
Great.
be ready for that.
Erland's going to go to the door and as quietly as possible. I don't want to open it much. I want to open it just enough, just kind of squeeze out.
Give me a stealth check with advantage.
24.
Jesus.
Sorry, 23.
Well, now
You fall off the balcony.
Fall off. It's a big splash. Everyone hears it.
So you crack the door and you sort of slip out and sort of lightly close. And it makes a little bit of a... But the waterfall noise is well covering any sounds that you make. And again, you see some of the things that Orba kind of peeked at. I think she relayed this to you. You see the hammock, there's a table, a bottle of mead out there. So you're making your way around the portion of the balcony that's now facing the camp.
On that side of the balcony, I want to get down as
Sort of on all fours.
Even
Prone.
lower, like fully prone, like army crawl, so that as I'm crawling across the balcony, I can't be seen.
Sure.
And then once I get underneath the window, that's when I want to kind of poke as small amount as possible.
Sure. So one thing, as you crawl around, for the first time you're able to see sort of the far corner of this balcony.
Okay.
And out on that balcony, you see a flagpole and a crate next to it that seems to have cloth in it. So there's a flagpole kind of sticking out a little bit, and there is a crate with different colored cloths that you can tell on the corner of this balcony.
But no one. But there's no like rope or anything.
What do you mean? There's all the mechanisms to raise the flag are there. But there's not a flag currently.
But the only way to put something up on that
Would be from this balcony, yes.
Okay. And no one that I saw on any of these looked upwards towards that?
Nope.
Oh boy.
On, man.
Okay, Erland's gonna crawl. Actually, yeah, no, Erland's just gonna crawl to where the window is, and just sort of peek over and wait. And I want to pay special attention if anyone is leaving any of these towers to go investigate the fact that the flag was perhaps not put up.
Okay. You do not see, you can take a good look, and you do not see anyone sort of making, you assume based on where Jillian sort of described this behind the waterfall path coming out, that they'd be going kind of over here into the mountain. You don't see anyone headed in that direction as far as you can tell.
Okay, good. Do I see anything else of the camp in the sort of area closest now that I'm...
No, you definitely have a better view of the door here now. You can tell that. You don't see anything now, but you definitely have a better view from this spot.
Great.
Yep.
So that's where I'm now making camp for the next little bit.
And some more time passes. It gets to be around 2 o'clock. And the guards do not change shifts at this hour, as far as you can tell. Nobody emerges from the barracks that seems to be relieving the people that you've seen. But the pillars of smoke every 15 minutes continue.
So it's been happening the whole time.
The whole time. Yeah. Every 15 so like basically for an hour, big puff of smoke, then it dissipates, goes away. Another 15 minutes pass, big puff of smoke. And once again, seemingly kind of right on time, around 2 o'clock, the white flags are raised again. 5 minutes, they stay out. Everyone seems to kind of look at each other.
This time, can I as they're sort of all raising it, I want to, like, as quickly as possible scan from each one to see if any of them are looking upwards.
Give me a perception check.
Yeah?
So you're saying, as you're looking around, is anyone looking basically right back at you? You're right next to the flagpole. You're like 3 feet away from it.
Okay. In that case, actually, Erland's going to tuck back.
Okay.
And wait and listen to hear if he hears the guy moving downstairs.
You do not.
So I'm gonna wait.
Good
news.
I'm gonna wait. It seemed like they did that pretty quickly, like last time. Like, do they
The flag thing?
Do they raise it, look, and then wait 5 minutes, or do they sort of continually
Yeah,
check?
they raise it. No, it looked like they raised, gave a look, check to make sure the other flags are in order as far as you could tell, leave it up for a couple minutes, bring it back down.
Great. So after maybe just a minute or two, once it seems like they're done peering, I'm gonna sort of poke back over.
You do so. What are you looking for in particular?
Again, just if no guards are changing, just any particular movement that is out of the ordinary.
So the guards do not change in front of the doors or those places where you saw before.
Do I see the guy nearest to me looking up or anything?
Which guy nearest
Like,
to you?
in
This
that
sentry
tower?
at the
In that
tower?
sentry?
He does not look like
Okay.
he's looking up. No. A number of laborers, far less armored than the guards that you've seen with the padded armor and the breastplates that have had spears, emerge from the back side of the barracks. Can this be seen? Yeah.
All over the place.
So like in the back end there.
Different from where the guards come.
It's the same building, but it looked like where the guards were coming out was a different entrance, yes. And they have a couple of horses with them. You do kind of get the impression that there might be on the far side of the barracks that you can't see, stables, something, somewhere to house some horses, a barn of some kind that you can't see. And they head towards the wooden platforms. They sort of walk their way over, they're leading the horses over. And they have a number of lengths of rope slung over their shoulders. And as they get to that area, they seem to be beginning to prep the staging area. Some of them are kind of sweeping off the tops of these platforms. You can see some of them kind of pouring sand on the cobblestone and stuff to keep the ground from being sort of muddied up and things near the river. And you can see some of them that start to kind of, they seem to be rigging up the treadwheel cranes. They're sort of throwing a rope over, pulling it tight. They seem to be sort of prepping this staging area down here.
Sorry. Does it seem like... Okay, so what is the entryway for carriages in this? Can I tell that from that?
This is open here, yes. It sort of tapers off on the horizon. It seems like it goes downhill at the end. You can't see past that.
Okay, so...
The water also seems to go downhill at the edge there where you can see that.
Okay,
See it on the map.
but there seems to be no route for carriage in the direction we came.
Definitely
Like
not.
no lift lock or anything like
Nope,
that.
nothing
Okay.
you can see. Nope. Seems like pretty much the only way in or out with anything of a substantial size is through that end over there.
Great. Can I see from this new angle? Can I see anything from the entryway from where we're supposedly going to be coming out from? And like,
You can't see that. It's presumably like right behind the waterfall. And again, the balcony even it's not over the edge, so yeah you cannot see that from here. Yeah.
Okay.
And as you're looking out,
No, before you can do anything.
Orba hears something.
Yup.
Yep.
Good.
You hear a loud, and you've seen this before, a kind of... You've seen this before, the sentinel kind of banged on it and waved up at the window. Mm-hmm. This time, you hear a sort of... And the supervisor gets up and he walks down.
Okay.
There's a little pause. And then you hear... up the staircase.
Oh boy.
The two of them.
From the first to the
From
second.
the first to the second floor.
Okay. Orba has her crystal out to cast Mage Hand, just ready to go.
Sure. And you hear... I'll show you, up on the top floor. Grab a bag of sand, would you? And you hear one of them kind of...
Immediately, Orba like picks up all of her writing and throws it in her bag.
Yep.
Puts the chair back that Erland had and casts Mage Hand outside the window and gives him a tug.
Okay, what
I
are you
like
doing?
it.
So I feel the tug and I look at Orba. Mm-hmm. She's signaling me to go inside? Hide. Oh, okay.
Says hide.
Erland's going to crawl to the side of the porch that's not visible
Okay.
to the camp.
Yep.
Step on the railing and hop up on the roof.
Okay. Give me an acrobatics check.
Oh. But can't they see him?
23.
23. Sort of scamper to the other. Orba sees him go by one window, by the other window, and then he disappears. And you hear an ever so slight, like, above you. And Erland, you put your foot on the railing, and you kind of propel yourself up, and you're up on the roof.
And I want to like be as from this angle, from that being on that side. Can I see the camp? Can the camp see me?
No. If you're like,
If I'm like lying pressed
no,
to the roof.
No, definitely not. No.
Great. So I'm going to. Yeah, I just want to make myself invisible to anyone. Perhaps
So you
down
lie
there.
flat there on the roof. What is Orba doing during
Orba
this
crawls
time?
under the bed.
Down.
She crawls under the bed.
Oh
Great.
my
She's sort of-
god.
Under
That's
the
right.
bed. This is like a sitcom.
And she lies there under the bed. And you hear,
I have my tail.
and you can see boots and people emerging.
Can I
to the
hear
third
them at all,
floor.
or is the waterfall too loud?
It's too loud on the outside. Yeah, Orba can hear a little more because the walls suppress the noise a little bit, but you do not hear them come up to the third floor.
Holding my tail in one hand and Crystal in the other hand.
And you hear sort of a, and it sounds like the door out to the deck opens up,
Yay.
and you can hear the clumping of boots.
So that I hear, right?
Yeah, you
So
can hear the door
I'm
open.
just pressed up against the roof.
So the two of them head out onto this roof deck, and you hear again a voice.
Oh.
So you toss the bag, and then we split the checkers, red and black. You take turns flicking them, and we go down and we see who got the closest ones.
Like horseshoes.
And for a moment, you can hear there's like a little bit of quiet chatter that you can't hear, a little bit of laughter, and the two of them kind of,
Which balcony side is it?
they
It's
are
the-
flicking things off the west side, which would be back theoretically towards Graven and Jillian.
So where
In that
he
direction.
Just hanging
What?
out.
Or the other side.
Watching them.
Oh, I thought you hopped up
You're on the
opposite
roof.
of where the flag was.
Yes. Opposite of the flag is the same side they're throwing things on.
Yeah.
So this is the building.
Yep.
This is where we entered.
Yep.
This is the Myconid Camp.
Yep.
This is the patio.
Yep.
I hopped up here.
Okay, sure.
Oh, I
All
thought
of
you-
that is not visible from
Great,
the deck
yeah.
unless you like pulled yourself up and
Yeah.
looked up. Yeah, you definitely cannot be seen up there.
But I can tell that they're throwing shit off of this
yeah,
side.
you can even kind of like peek ever so slightly, and you see them kind of like flicking.
Okay.
It's not stupid, it's fun.
Do I hear either of them say
keep
their
looking.
each other's names?
You have not yet.
Okay.
And they sort of a little bit of time passes. How's it going down there? And you hear the other man speak. It's pretty quiet. Regular shipment goes out in about an hour or so. It's a big one. Headed to Urin Shupa, so they can start it up again there. Things went all fuck up, so I gotta do it smarter this time. And you hear a little bit more of like, little fucking, they kind of, and at one point he kind of, oh! It was a close one. And they kind of go back to playing the game.
So this is about 2 p.m., right? So in an
yes.
hour or so would be about 3 p.m.
Yes, yeah, this is in that 2 to 3 p.m.
That's
block.
2 p.m. 3 p.m.
Why are they going back? Isn't Polnick going to be on the warpath? Well, they seem to think that Brick Rock's an ideal spot, so. And plus, the Void's got good presence there, so. What makes Brick Rock so special? Why not just set up somewhere else? And they stop flicking. And the one guy who was the sentinel walking on the catwalk kind of stops and looks at the supervisor. You know I can't tell you that. You're not part of the primary register. I shouldn't even be telling you where the shipments are going. And at that, he kind of holds out the sack of checkers that he was holding. And the supervisor holds his hand out and he kind of pushes it back. And he gives him a pat on the shoulder. And the sentinel turns back, and you can see as he turns back into the room, and you hear the door open, and you can hear his boots headed back downstairs. And the supervisor kind of stays there for a second, sort of with the checkers in hand. Berto, you fucking idiot. Stupid fucking Berto. Why would I ask? Why would I ask about it? He kind of heads back inside, closes the door behind, and you can hear him head back down to the second floor.
So it was the supervisor that was asking questions, and
Yeah.
the sentinel that was like,
Was saying,
tell
I
you
can't
that
tell
stuff.
you. And
Okay,
Berto's
sorry.
the
I thought it was
supervisor.
And Berto is the supervisor.
Kicking himself.
Okay.
What are you guys doing during this time?
Orba's gonna wait a second. Did I hear him like sit back down or anything?
Yeah, you heard the boots go down to the second floor. Yeah, you wait a second, you kind of hear the He pushes himself into his desk.
There's no way for me to tell that he's gone down. I can only hear him really go inside.
You heard him go inside. Yes,
Yeah,
you could not
okay.
tell that he's gone downstairs.
Orba's gonna slide out from under the bed
Oh.
and go over.
Wriggles.
How am I gonna tell you? She's gonna hit the balcony, I guess. She's gonna like open the door and try to sneak out onto the balcony. And she's gonna go, "It's okay. You come down. Go down.
Sort of peer.
He peeks over the edge and you see Orba looking up at the top.
Get back in. Okay, sorry." She's gonna inside.
No one's gonna like slide himself off the roof.
You sort of lightly your boots hit the edge of the deck. And that's where we're going to take a break.
I saw him turn and I was like getting ready for the swimming sensation of Julian and Graven. But I guess I have to wait.
We're going to take a little 15 minutes.
Berto, he's so lonely.
I think I like that guy. I think he's my favorite.
I will not
I
hurt
think we
him.
can turn him to our side.
I think we can. We
Just
need to
play
play
one game of
window sand.
Yeah.
Like if I
Winner
show up
takes
and
all
just-
windows.
He just needs a friend. Maybe he should become part of our traveling group. Poor dude. He's gonna take him with
That's all
us.
we need.
Poor dude.
Yeah, that's all we need.
Thank you guys for coming as always. We're going to take a 15-minute break. We'll come back. We'll dive right back into it. Once again, I'll say this again. About 1 minute into our BRB video, there is a little recap. If anyone's here for the first time, check it out. See what it's all about. It's all very pertinent to what's going on right now. For a while, the camp was kind of a thing of the future, but now we're very much in it. So a lot of it will make sense if you hadn't seen some of the earlier episodes. And we'll be back. We'll pick it up right there. Where
Everything is happening.
Everything's happening.
Everything in
All the things are happening.
We'll see you then.
Okay, bye.
Do you know what a harvesting yard is?
Remind me.
Myconids are semi-intelligent, like mushrooms, like fungus. They're being harvested to create this sort of extract.
What is that?
We don't quite know what it does, we just know that it gives some sort of superpower. Jillian is firmly on the side of it being immoral and something that should not exist on Suyu. We'll go back and forth.
Big key moment.
All right. Halfling is in a box. Attacked.
You're allowed full sentences, I think. And we fight that battle, and Jillian runs off after one of the Witherlings. Yeah, and we find an underground lab that has some mysterious sort of mist and pumping, and GGG P216 first ED is written on the wall.
GGG. First edition. Page 216.
There was a teacher of mine named Master Grimari, and he wrote a rather famous book called Grimari's Giant Grimoire.
I sort of
Yes.
ruined his life.
It wouldn't be a stretch to say that he might blame you.
I think specifically he blames me.
Okay, so when we arrived in Orange Chupa,
Oh no, Jillian's not there. Robert Bastille. He's like a get-it-done kind of guy in Orange Chupa.
I'm concerned about Jillian. She was supposed to be here yesterday. We were separated.
Do you know what her business was after she met us?
Jillian has shut down a couple of these camps already. She was in the business of finding a third. But there are those who've come to rely on these resources, so you can see how she might be constantly in danger.
we talked to Polnick, who's kind of the authority of Orange Chupa. He just got very suspicious of the party as a whole.
The longer we stay in a place, the more things tend to blow up, I guess. I don't know, it was just bad luck.
When we attended the wine tasting, other things went wrong.
Sort of a reconnaissance mission at the Mullafer wine tasting.
Baron, gave me the invitation because he's the one that requested the pieces from me. I am in need to find these chess pieces in order to get my name written off of some sort of records.
These pieces are at the tasting?
They belong to very important people. I have no idea who they are.
Beezaura was sort of off doing her chess piece, Light Whistle Chess Club reconnaissance.
Then we ended up in the basement, like fighting for our lives.
Oh yeah, doing the real fight.
While the other three were monkeying around with empty suits of armor.
I was supposed to be finding out information relating to Jillian and her whereabouts from this sort of guy, this tiefling named Armand Valliard.
Seems Jillian has been taken prisoner by a tribe of barbarians, and we have 1.5 to 3 days before the barbarians reach the Shaki Mountains.
That's not good.
No.
We got a couple leads on where we could maybe help Jillian and figure out what our next step was.
And then we hit the road, Jack. Real quick.
Did not come back.
No more.
Also, if we didn't leave, we were going to jail, and that's a good motivator.
Robert can no longer help us.
Okay.
Polnick seems to be after us.
Yes.
I think we ought to leave Orba.
At this very moment, or?
Today at 3 p.m., yes.
When we were trying to track down Jillian,
We hit the crossing. There was an explosion.
Like, they're here.
We
but
went in there really spicy hot. Boom, find Jillian. She's hiding behind a crate. Rediscovering Jillian.
to complete this Myconid Camp scouting mission.
I plan to continue and go to this Myconid Camp.
Would we also be a part of the destruction?
You blow them up, and the Myconids inside them.
They go with it. Do you think they prefer their situation as it stands?
I'm just wondering if that's the best way to dispose of them.
Have you ever thought of a way to cut the head off the snake rather than take down individual camps?
That would be something I'd look into. It's difficult to track down the source.
This isn't as effective and easy a problem to solve.
Strategery.
We got her in a carriage and we headed to Blom's house, who's a druid friend of hers that was nearby.
Which didn't last long. Attacked again. More undead.
What are we doing? They're coming towards the house.
Gillian, there's a crossbow in the pantry behind the shelves. Get it? The others hold the door. Nobody goes through, understand?
Either band together or die. That's when the group really comes together.
R.I.P. Blom, maybe.
Didn't enjoy that at all. That was terrible.
I don't have anything else to say to you, sir, so could you please stop asking me?
Recaps are hard.
It's really hard.
Boy, after a tough day of working, just a big glass of Myconid extract.
It's
It's the spot.
It's tangy.
And we're back in.
Ready to go?
Yeah.
Welcome back,
Here we are.
everybody.
We're back. There's so much candy.
Stress candy. Wow, this is jungle fever.
You scuttle over
Oh boy.
to the south, to the south-facing side of the operations depot.
A large man.
Peek around the corner to find a set of small wooden double doors set on an angle, sort of leading underneath the building. The wood is covered with a number of dark green splotches, possibly sort of mildew from the moisture and neglect over time. And the handles look to be two curved pieces of iron that have been rusted over, and there's a chain looped through both of them, with a small padlock holding it closed. Jillian sees this, and she looks to you. If I break that, can you fix it?
I think so.
What?
And she walks over to her.
I think so.
Matt?
Yes.
Can I?
Do you have mending? Is that
Yeah.
always equipped?
Oh, yeah.
Assuming it's a pretty clean break, yeah. If it doesn't break into a million pieces, yes.
2 halves of a broken key.
Yeah.
Yeah, something
I mean,
like that.
you definitely
In
can as
one
long as
foot
it doesn't
dimension, okay,
shatter.
yeah.
Yes. If it just sort of breaks,
all right.
yes.
So if you can make a clean break, yes, I can put it back together.
All right. And she reaches down and she sort of picks up part of the chain and she hands you the other end. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Make an athletics check.
Okay.
Better pass it.
I like that.
15.
15, great. So two, you kind of pull and tink, and the lock kind of goes up a little bit and it hits the edge of the house and you catch it and it didn't make too much noise and you take a look at it and it looks like a pretty clean break off the edge there.
That's good.
All right, down we go. And she
I'm going to put the block in my closet for now.
pulls up one of the handles. The doors creak open with a bit of noise, but the din of the waterfall masks the squeaky hinges effectively. It reveals a steep set of wooden stairs that descends quickly into darkness, sort of a musty, damp smell emanating from within, and certainly built without the intention of spending much time there. You can see the ceiling provides very little clearance. Even Jillian has to kind of hunch considerably, which forces you to almost move into a squat to kind of like get into this basement area. And it gets dark very quickly. Can you light something up?
Yes. Kind of feel for a
Sure.
potato-sized rock.
You don't feel anything? You have the lock in your pocket?
Yeah. There's nothing? All right. Yep. Take the lock back.
Right.
Bright white light.
And the whole thing lights up. And it's a small room. And you see a number of sort of, it's primarily like lengths of timber and stuff. It seems like they've stored, as Jillian said, building materials here when they were constructed. Anything left over from the construction of the catwalk, the buildings. You see a number of lengths of timber sort of lined up, a few crates that seem to have sort of crushed limestone that might be used for sort of making mortar and, you know, sort of cementing stone and brick together. And there's a few crates that Jillian kind of goes over to and she's kind of sliding them, looking in.
I'll start looking at other
Sure,
ones.
give me an investigation check.
I'll stand there and watch her. 17.
17. You take a look around, and Jillian slides one, and she seems to sort of, ropes are here, and she starts to reach in, but you're just kind of looking around as she's saying this. And you find, in one corner, a smaller crate containing quite a bit of chalk and a few jars that have inside what appear to be kind of like moltings or skin. Sort of thin, sort of crunchy, kind of fibrous texture. You don't have it open, but you're kind of looking
the jars
at it.
are all closed up, right?
Yep.
I don't recognize it as...
Give me a nature check.
Which building is this underneath?
They're under your building.
And the entryway was outside or inside? It was like one of those...
Outside. Yeah, it's one of those double kind of...
Oh, got it.
You go down into it, yeah. They did not have to go through the first floor or anything to get here. It's on the outside.
9 on the nature check.
Yeah, you don't recognize the sort of...
How many of these are there?
There's probably like 3 jars that have these moltings in it. It wasn't a big crate, and then like quite a bit of chalk. Like there's a number of pieces of chalk.
Like pieces of chalk.
Yeah, like quite a few. Like, yeah.
I don't really have anything that I could put in like a jar and like hold.
A jar? No. You could probably like on your sort of belt and in your pockets. You could probably put some chalk in there, but a whole jar you could not put a whole jar there. No. And Jillian's kind of in the process of like looping a few lengths of rope over her shoulder.
Do I pull an Erland here? Shove it into my mouth? No.
Gives you powers.
You want That's what I'm talking about. But I know to never put anything in my mouth or my body.
That you don't know where it is.
I don't know what it is. So.
Don't know where it is?
Finding this.
We got derailed.
Jillian.
And she's sort of in the mouth.
I'm gonna hold the lock like right up next to it. Do you recognize this?
She takes the jar. They look like snake skins.
Snake skins, not myconid skins?
Definitely not.
I'm gonna really kind of study the markings on and just to remember them. If I were to come across an beast that would.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, put this back. Maybe.
What are you keeping them for?
Yeah.
Take a couple of these ropes, would you?
Okay. Yes.
So the 2 of you can kind of get kind of 4 ropes each, like 2 slung over each. They're pretty good lengths of rope, maybe 50 feet or a little. So they're you've got these big sort of lengths of ropes.
All right. Anything else of use?
I just went straight for the ropes. Did you find anything else?
No.
All right, let's stick to the task then.
All right.
She sort of pushes up.
Once we see, I'll dispel the light.
Sure. And she sort of peeks out, makes sure no one's around. She sort of nods to you and gets up. And you guys make your way, sort of maneuver around the back.
Put the ropes down. Put the lock back on.
Sure, you're going to do that now. So she sees you as you're about to do that. She's sort of, what? We're going to need more than these 4 ropes. We're making multiple trips.
Right.
And you start to go. And you maneuver around the backside of the operations depot. And the noise of the waterfall is all consuming at this point. I mean, you're literally right here at the shoreline. So this constant rushing of water. You don't have to worry about sort of covering your crunchy footsteps as you step kind of gingerly down this bank. And Jillian removes her boots at this point. She kind of gets down, she sort of unties her boots, pulls it off, pets to the side.
Should we try to hide our boots somewhere?
She had tossed it over kind of near the cellar. If someone sees my boots there, I think we're well fucked anyway. Goes to take out her boots. She tosses it. They're like right near the cellar.
Okay. Do the same.
She seems to be sort of keeping time in mind, kind of quickly trying to move things along. All right. We're going to tie 1 rope between the 2 of us at the waist. And we wade 1 at a time between the beams. And that way, if someone loses their footing, the other person can hold on to the beam and the rope, and the other person can take a moment to orient themselves. If it starts to get too deep, we improvise. You ready? And she sort of takes a coil of rope after she ties around herself and 1 to you. So you guys are now tied between you, lengths of rope at the waist. And you can see her kind of step, and you can see her reaction to the temperature of the water. And she sort of takes a moment to acclimate before kind of taking the rope fully over her shoulder and slowly... And you can see the rushing water kind of moving past her waist, and she's kind of leaning into the current. You can see her sort of facing into it, and she's sort of... And the first beam is not that far from the shoreline. It's maybe, 5 feet from the shoreline. She kind of... And she touches the first beam, looks back at you, nods, and she takes the rope off her shoulder and begins to. The beams aren't super thick; you could almost reach your hands around them. And she takes the rope and she kind of whips it around, catches it with the other hand, and she pulls it and starts to tie the rope off. And then she motions for you.
Here we come.
Give me an athletics check.
Come on, Graven.
Give it with advantage. You're in the shallower water, and you're also tied off at this point. 13. Okay, so you kind of wade your way through, and at this point, as opposed to Jillian, who had came up maybe just below her waist, for you it's just above the knee. So you're just kind of wading through, and you reach out, and you're able to grab the pillar, and she's sort of she's talking like basically into your ear at the noise at this point. Your turn. Next pole.
Right.
Give me another athletics check. You can make this one with advantage as well. You're still in the slightly shallower part of the water here.
18.
18.
Yeah.
And now you've gotten to the next pole as you sort of wade through. And you have these lengths of rope.
Yep.
You sort of do the same thing. Take it off. Give me just a straight dexterity check.
Okay. 3.
3. You whip the rope around, and you sort of wait for it to catch it like Jillian did, and it never appears. And you can see the rope kind of going down the edge. Yeah, you can pull it back in.
Okay, yeah.
And you give it another try. Give me a dexterity check.
8.
Don't let this be like that.
Once again, and
Yeah, right?
you can hear it kind of hit the other end, and Jillian. So you see Jillian.
Any advice on technique?
Throw it a little harder, would you? Whip it around. Give it with advantage this time.
Yeah, a little dice.
Is that a 1?
Maybe.
I hate you.
Oh my god!
2
No. That can't happen again! How is it possible?
I just saw that with my own eyes. I can't even believe it.
You got a new dice tray for that. So Graven, sort of like mad at the fact that he missed the first 2, takes the rope and he flings it as hard as he can, and he goes to hold his end of it, and it just kind of, and you can see the rope, and it goes over the edge of the water.
Cursing in giant.
So you've lost one of the ropes now.
Oh god, dang it.
Like,
Look back at
literally
Jillian
just
like,
seeing that.
She gives you sort of a exasperated look.
Wow.
No point worrying about that one.
I do have another one, right?
Yeah, you have 2 more, I think.
2 more.
Yeah.
Yikes.
I'm gonna close my eyes.
That was insane.
Give me another advantage.
Want to roll on this one?
I got a different die. It's fine. Straight dexterity.
Yep, with advantage.
Natural 20.
Hey!
Graven
God.
takes a moment,
Recovery.
This is the first fucking pillow.
composes himself, whips it around, and this time you see the rope coming around. You grab it on the other side, pull it together, and you tie it off.
Jesus.
You look back at Jillian, and she grabs onto the rope that you've now tied between, and she's able to pull herself through.
That was.
And you guys continue, alternating. One person goes, ties it around. The other person comes across the rope, throws it around. And after a couple are done, the 2 of you have to, now easily, because you have the rope thing, wade your way back. And you go back into the cellar, pick up more ropes. And you continue this back and forth through this time. While you guys are working on that, we're going to go over.
Oh my god, I'm so nervous. They're gonna see us. They're not gonna.
I actually
Wild.
can't. You're cursed. Get out.
Let Koozni into your life.
Shut it.
The Black Lions ride in your direction. You've seen them now sort of separate from these laborers who are in the sort of finishing stages of packing up what they've done. They've turned the ox mostly around, and they've started to the cart moving in the other direction. Again, still 150 so feet from the boulder, which you guys are fairly close to, just further inland.
Yeah.
So the riders start to come by, and you hear the horses again, the sort of... And at one point, they're sort of riding by, and you see ever so slightly the woman with the bones and the jewelry sort of...
Oh no.
And she turns, and she holds her hand up, and everyone sort of stops on a dime. And you can hear
I'm so scared.
all of the hooves kind of turn. And she reaches and she grabs like her bone necklace around her neck. Semawa. And you see the two other riders kind of exchange a glance between each other. And she gets off her horse. And she takes a blindfold out of her pocket. And she
It allows her to like see something.
ties it around her head. And she again holds the jewelry. She starts to walk.
Oh boy.
Now she's walking with confidence. I mean, there's a number of rocks. You've walked through this terrain, these crags and trees, and she doesn't even for a second kind of hesitate or misstep at all. And now you guys are kind of in the trees and you're watching this happen, and she seems to be moving in the direction of the cave that you guys went through. She sort of gets to the edge of the tall grass.
She probably senses the dead bear.
She moves. She grabs her blindfold and takes it off. And she's staring down in the direction of the bear corpse. And she looks back towards her other riders. Semawaga. And one of the riders stays on their horse, and one of the other ones gets off with a weapon. Sort of moves in that direction. You guys are sort of crouched in the grass tree area, sort of watching this take place. And she goes a little over the hill where you know that the cave and the bear fight kind of happened. And you begin to hear a little bit of chanting. And you see, and the one other rider that got off his horse kind of goes over in that direction. And he's looking. He doesn't seem to be participating in anything, but he's sort of watching and just sort of keeping an eye on things in general. What are you guys doing this time? They're a little bit away from you. If you got very close to each other, you could kind of talk in very hushed tones, but any movement beyond that, you'd have to be very careful.
I'm gonna just kind of signal to Beezaura, like with my hand, just to kind of like some wait and watch.
Okay.
And I'm gonna look at her and be like, just like that. I know, like that's why she went that way, because that's she
Beezaura makes
it.
like bear.
Yeah. And like, I guess moving right now is not a good option. They're still very close to us, right?
Yes, I mean, yes. To move out of your hiding spot, they're close enough that would be
So I'm just gonna
risky.
be like, and we're just gonna wait.
And you hear a little more chanting. And it seems to sort of ascend. And after a moment,
No.
and there's a little bit of noise, shuffling. And then it sounds like two bears. And in response, and you see, coming over the edge of the hill,
Oh my god.
a blue spirit of a bear, looking very similar to how Taboo looked as it sort of rose up into the tree. This sort of, you can see the outline, the sort of blue essence of the animal. And it's sort of coming up over the hill, and you can see in its eyes a sort of fear. And coming up behind it over the hill is a bear corpse, reanimated. You can see some of the sort of wounds and flesh kind of falling off to the sides, and the skeleton kind of protruding through in a couple of places. And you see the spirit look back and then start to run towards the shoreline, like away from the sort of reanimated corpse of itself. And it starts to move. And you see the shaman come up over the edge of the hill, and she fires a bolt of energy that hits the spirit bear. And it sort of looks back, and then it stops for a moment, and it looks
At us?
directly at Safira with sort of pleading eyes, and it starts to walk towards, and it again takes another sort of bolt of energy as the sort of necromancer fires off another bolt of energy, and it's and it's making its way towards you. And the reanimated bear is sort of slowly, its bones kind of clattering, moving ever so slowly towards. What are you doing in this moment? You see it moving directly towards Safira.
How far away am I from her?
From Safira?
Yeah.
10 feet. And they're probably... the bear is now maybe 30 feet away from you. It's moving closer.
Safira. Why?
No, let it. Hang on. I don't think it means us harm. And I don't think we can move right now.
I don't know if it means us harm, but it's certainly creating some sort of...
Yeah, I know. I think we're gonna have to deal with that when it happens.
And it moves closer. And it gets probably within 15 feet, and once more looks at you, and then it turns, and it looks like it's about to turn to fight. And the two bears kind of, and they start to, and the spirit, it looks like the claw of the reanimated bear almost kind of passes through it, but then it catches on a bit of its essence, and it kind of pulls it, and you can see the spirit bear kind of gnash back, and the two of them are clashing and fighting. What are you doing during this time?
I am beyond, like, out of my... I have no idea what's happening, because I've never seen anything like this before.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm literally looking at her, I'm like,
What are we doing, Safira?
What's around me right now, physically in the space? Are there rocks, twigs,
Yeah,
anything
there's
like that?
sparse trees, some rocks, like rock formations as well.
Can I try to distract one of these animals? Would that be...
What?
Possibly, you'd have to step out from your sort of hiding spot that you're hiding in.
can... Safira, should I run?
I see it.
Smashed him.
Should I leave?
I'm gonna step out of the hiding spot, and I'm gonna try to throw a rock at the bear that's
What?
the
reanimated bear?
reanimated bear.
Give me an attack roll.
As she does
Don't
that...
look at me like this, you guys.
Since she's doing that, and
I
I'm
don't know
very
what the
small,
modifier for that would be. But
just give me your dexterity modifier on that.
where
21.
am I behind anything right now?
Yes, you were also hiding behind like a tree, like Safira was, but she just stepped out in front of hers. You have
Okay.
not stepped out yet.
I am not.
Okay.
And I'm going, since she's doing that, and that's a lot of action, I'm going to literally get as low as I can to the ground and scurry back behind a further tree.
Okay, give me a stealth check. You need to roll initiative for me.
Yeah.
The attack hit, give me a, it's an improvised weapon, give me a
It's a
d4 plus your strength modifier.
That was a D6, but...
Oh, that's a D.
yeah, roll
oh,
D4.
sorry.
Eight.
What's a D4?
D4, the
Thank
triangle.
you.
Single
Okay.
triangle.
It was. It's my strength modifier, which is. Where the fuck is my? Okay.
The big number, yeah.
6.
6, great.
I don't know how he took 6 damage from a pebble, but
It was a rock.
Oh,
Yeah, you
oh,
threw
okay.
you threw a
It was a
rock.
95 mile
It was the boulder.
yeah, she really, yeah.
Smashed him.
All right, what was your stealth check?
An 8.
8. So you see this sort of happen, and Beezaura sort of, in sort of panic and fear, sort of picks up and tries to shuffle, and the ground is loud. It's a lot of grass. And you see the black lion who had gotten off his horse, not the shaman, looks in your direction. Roll initiative for me.
No!
Sorry.
Yes.
Oh, brother, you two.
Oh no!
Oh, this is my fault.
Oh no!
Couldn't let that ghost bear die.
I couldn't
could ya?
let the
You
ghost
couldn't
bear-
just let them
Look,
fight
you know
it
what's gonna
out.
happen. You know the ghost bear is gonna die anyway.
I want it to be known that I think that it's a good decision.
Oh.
Throwing the rock wasn't.
Says the guy.
Getting into combat was.
Says the guy who ate a plant.
I did eat a plant.
You know,
And gained powers.
Now
Do silly
I have
stuff,
to fight
get
a
powers.
black lion,
3 black lions.
Three black
and
lions.
a bear.
Reanimated bear.
and one of them is a spiritual
well, the bear is a little
necromancer.
distracted, and we have the spirit bear on our side, you guys. So
It appealed to
don't-
you and then turned
I
away
don't
from
really
you.
know
I
about.
think the spirit bear is probably.
You let it get hit twice.
Yeah.
well, what the fuck was I? Sorry.
I just wanted to run away.
I hardly knew you. You tried to kill me when you were
I
alive.
couldn't run away.
fair.
You know, listen, I think we're friends, clearly, but yeah, it's been a complicated relationship so far, you know?
Oh boy. Oh, that poor bear.
I don't like him.
It knows I felt guilty when I killed it.
Oh, they
So-
fit perfectly in those little blips.
It could
I
feel
mean,
my
everything
wolf
should
guilt.
be like 1 inch. That's the idea.
That's what she said.
Oh, got him. Official got him.
Who did she get?
So these are just kind of obstacles, trees, rock formations, and things that are sort of. And this way is the lake. So this.
Should you need to run away?
Just start swimming, grab the paper, and
No,
go.
we need to kill all of these people now.
Or should you want to jump in the lake and gain Myconid powers?
No.
I think that's gonna be my next venture.
So, did everybody roll initiative? Do you guys roll initiative?
Yeah.
7.
Oh, can you hand me the initiative?
Yes.
I don't think I
Craft the
did.
initiative.
Oh, wait.
I'll let you send it.
There you go. Oh, good.
Reanimated bear.
Spirit bear.
Spirit bear.
Spirit bear.
Let's turn them in.
Yeah.
The
Give him a wound.
Oh yeah, perfect. Thank you.
shaman.
Yeah.
BZ, you said you had 7?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had 5.
Oh, great. You
Yeah,
too.
I know.
Hit
Listen.
points already down.
My life points are low.
Be careful.
You have a healer.
You have all of your superiority dice,
Healed
don't you?
Safira, who was there.
Yeah.
Zara was further
Yeah.
behind.
Plus, if they mess up these black line, I don't think it's gonna.
Oh, no.
ruin our-
I used my action
Well, they're not camp
surge
black
already.
lines, at
Exactly.
least.
I used my action surge.
And there is like.
But my superiority dice I still have, but there's...
He's probably gonna run
fairly
away, but
serious
there's like a
combat.
horse kind of around on the edge of the lake.
Okay. Whenever you have the other initials.
Yes. Second.
Yep, take your time. Whoa.
So the two black lines that are not the shaman, 7.
Oh, okay, let's battle.
The shaman is a 19.
Oh,
Not good.
Oh, jeez.
definitely not
And
good.
the reanimated bear is an 8.
Okay.
And the spirit bear is a 4.
Shaman's just gonna kill everybody.
19 for shaman.
Including the people she came with.
Zombie bear is 8 and other bear is 4.
Yes, I think that was correct.
Yeah, okay. Alright. You can start whenever you want.
All right. So, the shaman doesn't, as this is sort of all happening very quickly, the shaman doesn't immediately see you guys as you're kind of obscured in the shaman does see the bear kind of run to the edge of this sort of area of trees and things, sort of look like it's looking at something, and then turn back and sort of attack the reanimated bear. So, the shaman is going to first attack the spirit bear. And you see a sort of, once again, she sort of she has this kind of crooked wand that she holds up, and you see 3 missiles come out.
Oh,
This isn't
missile.
good.
This
This is not
sucks.
good.
The spirit bear takes 8 force damage. And automatic, the force missiles hit automatically. It's and it sort of you see them, and it kind of connects with the bear, and it kind of pushes it back a little bit, and it shakes off the sort of hurt. Who's up next?
After the shaman, it's the zombie bear.
Zombie bear. So, sort of seeing an opportunity, it kind of crawls forward. And it's going to make 2 attacks with its...
No one else is
So it sort of reaches out, and one of the paws, already the skin has started to fall off, so there's these like bony sort of claw fingers, and it kind of goes across, and then it's going to go in for a bite as well. That hits, the bite misses. So the claw sort of connects and goes in for a bite. And you do notice that the claw kind of comes in, and once again, it kind of passes a little bit through the edge of the spirit bear, and then it kind of connects a little bit. It does seem like physical attacks on the spirit bear are less effective. You get that impression as it kind of... so it
Need some steel gloves?
Silver, you mean?
Silver. You have silver gloves, yeah? Yeah, you took them in a
They're in
third
your
range.
bag. You did
My
take them
flail
in a
is still silvered.
Yes.
Ooh. Good
So
to
you could-
know.
Yeah, but you don't
You
want to
could
attack
attack.
that. You could attack the guy.
Who's
that
up
you're
next?
trying to help.
It's
that's
the Black
right.
Lion tribe members.
Great. So this one did not yet see you guys, and is going to go up and attack Spirit Bear. And he sort of draws. He has 2 swords that he kind of draws and makes 2 attacks on the Spirit Bear. Miss and miss. Double miss. So Spirit Bear kind of and sort of dodges back and forth. This one is the one that saw Beezaura, so it's gonna. It sort of heads towards Beezaura, and then seeing off to his left, he spots Safira and changes direction as it's closer. And he's going to make a multi-attack on you. 14 to hit.
14 hits.
14 hits. And 11 to hit.
11 misses.
Great, so it comes with a sword. And rolls 3 slashing damage. Natty 1.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Also with Black Lions, it's
We're all
BZ.
set.
Okay. How far away is that guy that just attacked Safira?
10, 15, 20 feet away.
Oh, it's just enough. So, she's good.
Beezaura kind of runs to the edge, hears the noise behind her.
Just wanted to get out of here. I'm like, so I turn around, I go at him,
Get out.
and flail at him.
Go for it.
Natural 20.
Nice. There
That
we
hits.
go.
Roll for
Good
damage.
start.
Oh,
Way to go, Halfling.
yeah, here we go. Wow, that was perfect. Please kill him for me.
7.
Well, no, you
No,
doubled
you
5.
Double the dice and then add the modifier.
Oh, I didn't even hear you say that.
Yeah, for the
It's a-
natural 20.
for a
that's
natural
critical
20.
hit.
Oh, sorry. So 10, 12.
12 damage. Great. Sort of coming in with a running start. You kind of crack him across.
Really hit him.
So you can use a superiority dice. The other thing to note in this is all of the dice are doubled in a critical hit, which includes your superiority dice. So if you use one, the damage is doubled.
Oh.
Her face.
It is.
But,
It would be the two attack ones. You have
the goading or the distracting.
Yes. So if you choose to use it on this turn, you double the damage of the superiority die.
Sorry, can I just give sorry.
Matt, we want to do big battle camp?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
You know, I just like doing this big bear stuff.
Big battle.
One of them looks like a bear.
I don't want them to attack
The other one's
me.
like a skeleton bear.
So with the
This news is dope.
distracting strike, that would give Safira a chance. She's next too, right?
Go ahead and read it.
You can expend 1 superiority die to distract the creature, giving your allies an opening. You add the superiority die to the attack's damage roll. The next attack roll against the target by an attacker other than you has advantage if the attack is made before the start of your next turn.
Yes. So after you roll the superiority die, if Safira or the spirit bear were to attack that guy, they get advantage on the roll.
Okay, so I'm gonna do that.
Great. So you
'Cause
also
she's next.
roll the d8 and you add this damage,
Okay, cool.
Oh, hell yeah.
It's doubled, right?
and it is doubled. Yes.
6
Plus.
plus
do you
2.
know-
Do I add
There's no
mine?
modifier.
Oh, there's no
Yeah,
modifier,
it's just
sorry.
superiority.
So 6.
Six,
Sorry,
right?
it's not that great.
That's okay. You run up and you sort of with the
great.
superior draw, you kind of hit him again the other way. And as you hit him, it kind of rattles him a little bit, and you can kind of like his peripheral vision's a little blurred, so you can see if something kind of came at him from another side. He might not kind of see it coming. Right?
Nice.
Yeah. And that's
All right.
good. Get him, Safira!
Safira.
Severe.
Specifically him, Safira.
Yeah.
Okay,
I did that on purpose, Safira!
seeing that I have an opportunity here, I'm gonna take my sickle and try to stab him in the head.
Okay, so you're taking the sickle out instead of backing up?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So give me an attack roll with advantage.
Does that mean I have to take an action to equip my bow?
If you
after?
wanted to later equip your bow, yes.
Okay.
You could just back up and use your bow,
I'm gonna-
but it does.
yeah,
you do get an
yeah,
attack of
yeah.
opportunity. on it.
Okay, I'm gonna back up then.
Great.
and
So sort of
use my
seeing
bow.
Beezaura come in, she sort of takes the opportunity to leap back. 15 to hit.
15 hits.
You take 4 slashing damage
Okay.
as you back up. Where are you backing up to?
I'm backing up.
Just enough.
I mean, I want to back up as far as I can away from this guy, I guess.
20, 25?
No,
You can go that far?
the 20, I think.
20? Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
And then I'm going to aim
Just
right
good
for
aim.
his eye.
The one that's right next to Beezaura, yeah?
Yeah.
And with advantage because of distracting strike.
Oh, right. 21 to hit.
21
Yeah.
hits, roll for damage.
Thought it would.
And he's already hurt.
Come on, baby.
Yeah, this is a D8, right?
Get rid of him.
Oh, of course.
He's already hurt.
Yes, he is. So 4.
Give me this damage first. What is it? 4?
4.
Okay, and then give me the Colossal Slayer damage after that.
I always forget about the claws.
Colossus is a D8.
Thank you. 6 total.
6. So Safira sort of takes the glancing blow, and as she's running, draws it, and she turns around and whips an arrow, and it goes across the neck. And
Yes! Little baby black lion. Suck it.
all right.
Love it.
Everybody else in the field's like,
What the? I mean, the shaman and the other black lion just saw that dude run over there and just die. Like, they haven't even seen what else is going on.
I think we're so much
He just ran and just collapsed.
He, like, falls over with
so
an arrow
quick.
through his neck. Yeah.
You'll set Safira?
Yeah.
Next is Spirit Bear.
Spirit Bear, great. So the Spirit Bear, sort of ever taking a couple glancing blows, kind of rears up on its hind legs and it like roars out loud.
Yeah.
The two of you add a D8 to your next attack roll.
Whoa. Rally.
It sort of inspires both of you. Just remember that.
Wow.
And in addition to that,
D8?
it's just the attack roll, not the damage. So that not the damage, the
Still
attack.
pretty cool.
That's great.
Yeah.
Right? And then it comes down on its legs and it goes for a bite on the black
Come on,
lion.
baby.
16 to hit, that hits.
Nice, Spirit.
Baby.
Nice bite.
Diddly-doo-doo.
And 4 damage.
Okay.
And it sort of tears like a small chunk of flesh as he's sort of blocking with one of his kind of wrist guards. It bites into the guard and sort of tears off a piece of it. That is the Spirit Bear's turn. Shaman. Great. So the shaman, sort of initially thinking that they were just sort of fighting the bear, sort of sees the chaos of the field behind and is gonna sort of
No, I'm in front now.
go up behind, and she peeks out behind this tree, and she's gonna fire 3 more missiles, which hit automatically.
Oh.
Magic missiles. Beezaura's gonna take 2 of them. You take 7 force damage, and well, yeah, you're close enough. Safira takes 4 force damage as the sort of rally of missiles go flying out.
You said 4?
Yes, 4 force.
Sorry.
Okay. It is. Okay.
After the shaman, it's Zombie Bear.
Great, so Zombie Bear. Zombie Bear, like, it sees in that last attack that its sort of claws almost pass through a little bit the bear, and it's gonna go around the bear,
What the fuck?
Oh gosh.
and it kind of, and it sees Beezaura, and it goes for a claw and a bite.
No.
Claw, 16 to hit.
Nope.
14 to hit.
Nope.
And you sort of bring up the shield and sort of you hear the sort of clashing above you, but it doesn't find you. And when you bring the shield down, there's this sort of like drooling bear, and there's like flesh dripping off the side of its cheek.
Yuck.
Whack 'em.
Yikes.
That's it.
All right, after Zombie, it's BZ and Black Lion.
They're the same.
Yeah.
Oh, Beezaura can go first.
Okay, so I have no idea how to attack this thing. Right?
I mean, you fought undead things before.
And you
It's-
have a silver.
It's bones.
Oh, and I
and-
have my silvered flail.
It also doesn't look incorporeal. It doesn't look like a
Right, it's
spirit.
not-
It's physical. Yeah, it's
Okay.
like bones. It's flesh and bones.
Okay, then I'm gonna go.
It looks
after
like a zombie bear, is what it
Yeah,
looks
I'm
like.
gonna be like I see its face after just try to attack, I'm like, "Ah!" and I just kind of like wind up and go for it.
Make an attack roll.
Plus a D8.
What's the D8?
Yes.
It's
No, you have to roll a D8.
But yeah.
So
oh
add that.
I think she thinks she hit it anyway. But
yeah, I did.
Okay.
It's like
29.
I'm at like 28 right
Yes,
now.
that hits.
Yeah.
Roll for damage.
That was a good D8. 6.
6 damage. Great. What kind of damage is that? Oh.
That is bludgeoning.
Great. Oh, swings it around, and you can see it connect with some of the bones, and it hits the rib cage, and the rib cage kind of like shatters across. And you see some of the pieces go off. Do you want to use anything else?
How long does your bow go?
I can hit.
Oh, she can hit
everyone.
anything that's in
yeah,
range,
that's there.
Okay, well, what is the goading? You can expend one spirit die to attempt to goad the target and to attack it. No, I don't want that.
But you can use the same thing again. It's
Right.
not like one spirit.
I think I'm gonna do the distracting again.
Great.
And go at him again.
So roll another d8.
8.
Nice.
Nice, there you go.
Plus,
So-
I don't know modifier, right?
No. So another sort of, and as it does so, it seems like it got gimped a little bit,
Ooh.
and it's sort of rattling on its bones again, sort of exposing its sort of large chest area, giving an opportunity for something else to attack it.
And I'm gonna look at Safira and be like, Safira! Again!
Okay, so the black line. Or are you moving? You're staying there. Moving?
I'll stay.
Great. So Black Lion, again, sort of noticing that his attacks are not affecting the
I
bear.
forgot about them. They didn't go yet.
He's going to leave it to the shaman. However, he's going to exit the range of the spirit bear there, who misses on the way by. Tries to grab. He's going to run around.
I didn't realize. I forgot he didn't go yet.
And sort of come down with 2 swords.
No.
14 to hit.
Nope.
And 18 to hit.
Nope.
Brings down the 2 swords. And he's sort of like breathing
And
hard.
I stare back at him.
And he's like 2 feet taller than you. And he's like,
Yeah.
That's it.
All right, after the BLTs, it's a Safira.
BLTs.
Yeah. Okay. So she just gave me advantage on attacking the bear, but I know I can infer that it's unlikely. Piercing damage is unlikely to do as much damage.
It's not just bones. It's flesh.
Yeah.
It looks like a zombie, not like a skeleton. So.
Okay. Yeah, I should use the advantage. I'm gonna take a shot at the bear.
Right.
Plus a D8.
Oh, right.
Yeah, plus the rally.
But I rolled
D8.
twice, right? I rolled the
Yep.
same
Oh,
thing
damn,
twice.
you
I hit it. I hit it.
I believe.
Yeah, I really hit it. It would be. It's
Yeah.
annihilated. I got like over 30.
Okay,
It's,
that
yeah.
hits. Roll for
Nice.
I
damage.
can't do the simple math.
So roll for
Wow.
damage plus Colossus Slayer.
Yeah. Oh, good. Okay, so 11 initial.
Yep.
And then plus 5.
Right.
Great.
Great work.
So the arrow goes, and it's sort of disoriented, and as it looks up, it kind of like arrow sinks into its eye, and it reaches up, and it kind of pulls the arrow, and you see the eyeball pop out, and it kind of it's definitely still alive, but yeah.
All right. I mean,
bear.
now I respect it a little bit. Okay, I'm done.
Spirit
I'm
bear.
kidding. It's done.
Spirit bear, great. So the spirit bear, sort of seeing the battle behind it going on, it turns its head and it locks eyes with the shaman. And it's gonna run towards. The bear's gonna get an attack of opportunity here. The zombie bear.
Miss.
Ooh, 19 to hit. That hits.
It's okay. He's resistant to the things, to the physical.
Great. Yeah, he was resisting. So you see the zombie bear kind of lash out, and it catches a little bit of the spirit bear. So spirit bear goes charging forward, and it's gonna attempt to. It does like a running start, and it leaps, and it's gonna attempt to pin her down with its tooth.
Yeah.
13, that hits.
Yes.
So he sort of reaches and boom, and you can see the paws hit her chest, and she sort of loses the air as she gets pinned to the ground. She is prone.
Yes.
Awesome.
Come on, spirit bear. Fuck her up.
Max damage.
Yes.
You guys remember when you killed this bear earlier?
Listen.
Was gonna eat us before.
Listen.
Things can change in an instant, man. So it pins her down, and it's a sort of force. You can see the sort of the breath coming out of her face as she attempts to sort of maintain. She sort of grabs on to the 2 spectral paws that are like pinning her down.
That's scary.
That's it.
She's next.
All right, top of the lineup, shaman.
Great, she's next. So she's going to attempt to free herself.
Don't.
No, she does not. 4. So she like wriggles a little bit and it pins her down. And so she's going to make an attack with disadvantage. She's going to sort of reach out and you see a little bit of fire in her palm and she tries to like just shove it in the bear's face. Ooh, natural 1. You see the bear, as she reaches her arm, the bear kind of pins that arm down to the ground and the flame just fires off
Eat her
into
hand.
the other direction.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it. Zombie, great. So that one again goes towards Beezaura, and you can see it sort of comes up with its claw, and it comes up with the other claw, and it's sort of one of its legs it goes up on, and it kind of bends at an unnatural angle, and it goes kind of and goes for a kick as well.
my God.
It's gonna make 3 attacks.
You're fine.
12 to hit,
No.
15 to
No.
hit, 17 to hit.
Yeah.
As it
Just basilisk.
tries to sort of stomp Beezaura into the ground, she sort of dodges one, blocks one, dodges another.
You'd be dead.
That's it.
I was dead a century ago.
I know.
Me or the black lions.
Beezaura, you're up.
Okay.
Above it.
I don't even know what to do. There's 2 of them.
Smash down.
Okay.
They've both taken damage. The bear has been taking more damage, but you also presume he has more health.
Right.
Total.
And with the flail, like I can't do 2 in 1.
No.
Darn
Good try.
Just like really winded. I think I'm gonna go after. Well, she can definitely hit the other guy with an arrow.
She has already hit the bear,
Yeah, I
too.
could,
Right.
I mean, yeah.
But I'm saying like that guy's
You might
more
do
prone
more
to
damage to the
arrows,
bear.
and that I'm gonna go for the bear.
Okay.
Just
Make an attack roll.
because I seem to do more damage on him.
Yep, make an attack roll.
Yes, 19.
19 hits, roll for damage.
We're roll. I mean, you know.
Not the plastic
4.
table.
4 damage. Okay, that gets doubled. You see the
Oh.
vulnerability. No,
real
because of the
world.
vulnerability. So you bring down and you see it kind of crunch into its skull, and a few pieces of the skull go out. Are you using it? It's not dead. Are you using any?
God,
Mom.
I don't have.
You still have superiority dice. You only used a couple,
I used 2, but I mean the other one.
but you can keep using the same thing.
It's
There's
tried
no
to hit
limit
you-
to the number
It's
of
tried
times
to hit
you
you
can
like
use it.
6 times and it hasn't done it once.
Right. The goading attack one is confusing to me, but it's okay.
It's
That's
just to
because
protect
they're tank.
allies. It basically forces them to attack you when you have very high armor class.
Right.
Because if they attack anything else, they
Okay.
get
They're
disadvantage.
less
But
likely
it doesn't
to
get
hit
hurt
you.
anymore, right?
No.
You roll the same die. You roll the same
You'll do
superiority.
more damage
Oh.
with the die.
Oh, got
You
it.
still roll the superiority die and then
Okay.
add that to the damage.
No, I'm gonna hold because I just used 2, so I think I'm gonna hold for
You
a
got
second.
Okay.
After. Who was that? It's BZ and BLT.
Black Line. Great. So the Black Line, this one, like, he sort of stared Beezaura down, and he watches Beezaura block and dodge 3 attacks from the zombie bear, and he sort of runs in
turn to
Safira's
me, yeah,
direction.
yeah.
Give me an attack of opportunity.
Oh,
as he runs in
yeah.
last strike.
Yeah, that tracks.
Yes, 23.
Roll for damage.
Oh, damn it. 3.
3 damage. Great. So you sort of catch him on the way by as you swing your flail around. So he goes charging at Safira, and he goes for like a big overhand strike. 18 to hit.
That hits.
Now I know which one I need to use next.
You take 7 slashing damage.
Oh.
It sort of
Hell.
catches you, and you sort of are holding the bow, and it sort of jostles the bow out of your hands a little bit. You still have it, but
Okay.
that is severe.
Alright, I'm gonna take a big risk here and try to run past him to get to,
Where you had him?
like, I'm trying to get to, like, here,
What?
behind the spirit bear.
Okay. 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. What's
That's
your
about
movement?
as far as I'll get, because
What's your movement?
30.
30. Okay, yeah. So that's as far as
I'll
he makes an attack of opportunity.
Oh no.
11 to hit.
11 misses.
11 misses.
Thank
So you sort of
God.
take the strike, and then
Yeah.
you duck out of the way.
Very nearly could have been unconscious. That was stupid. Okay. Now that I'm not well,
Safira doesn't think about getting hit.
yeah, she
Being
should.
alive.
Yeah.
She really
Taking
should.
Breathing.
She should think about these things. She's gonna then turn around
Okay.
towards this guy,
Mm-hmm.
and fire, try to
Great.
hit him in the eye.
Give me an attack roll.
The other eye. Blind him.
15 to
15
hit.
hits. Roll for damage.
Come on, baby.
Right.
And he's hurt.
6. 8 total.
8, 2 on top of
Yeah,
the original.
yeah,
Great.
yeah, yeah.
Great. So you run and fire back, and you sort of catches him, and he seems to be sort of limping. He's a little woozy. He's still
Gosh,
up.
what is gonna take?
That was a poopy natural.
Back away, girl.
You guys have done pretty good.
Pick them rib for rib.
All right.
All right.
Are you good, Spirit?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, Spirit Bear.
The spirit bear. So the spirit bear is sort of pinning down the shaman. Is going to go for an attack and a claw.
Yeah.
Both of them have advantage because she's
Yeah.
Get her.
16 to hit. That hits.
Nice.
Natural 20. So
What's the color for the bear if he gets to kill it?
The spirit bear
I'm gonna find the
knocking
last
it
thing on the
out of the
battlefield.
park.
That's true.
So he sort of pins her down, puts his huge jaw around her head, and pulls it loose, and it kind of rips up, and you see across the tree the blood kind of splatter across
Oh my
the tree.
god.
Yeah. And it does that, and then it kind of turns, and it looks like it's looking back towards the zombie bear.
Well done.
Wow.
That black lion is shitting his pants now.
He's like in the woods. He's like, I don't know
After
what to
spirit bear,
do.
it's shaman. She
The shaman is dead.
Zombie bear.
Zombie bear, great. So the zombie bear, looking at
God.
Safira, having just hit all those, it's gonna again sort of crawl forward. It's gonna make a few attacks here.
On me?
Yep. 15 to hit.
No.
11 to hit.
No.
22 to hit. Catches you with the last attack. You take 6 piercing damage.
Ooh, that was too much.
And it sort of catches you with like a spiny.
One day we're gonna swap roles, and you can see what death sees like.
I'm very close.
What it feels like to be nearly dead.
What's very
Okay.
close?
That's it.
Like
Single
rash
digits.
My
decisions
turn.
like me.
What's
Yeah,
very
I'm
close?
single.
Single digits.
Zara's turn.
I'm gonna end this guy.
You better.
Give me that
'cause
attack roll.
You're not feeling so hot.
Yeah.
You feel
14?
14 hits. Roll for damage.
Oh, baby, come on. Wait, that's the wrong one. Oop, I'll take that. 5.
5. Are you using anything?
No, and
It's looking pretty busted.
no, because I want to use something. I want to use rally.
Okay.
Afterwards.
Okay, so you just you get a good break, and it seems to be like it's on its bones, and some of the flesh has kind of fallen off, so it's kind of like shaking and rattling a little bit. You can see some of the bones kind of clattering as
It
it's
doesn't
struggling.
collapse yet?
Nope, it's like struggling to hold itself up.
Fine. And I can only use one.
They're both bonus actions, so you have to pick one. Yeah.
Okay. She's very hurt.
You don't have to roll for an attack on the superiority dice. You've already hit it, if that's what you're thinking about.
Oh, like to end it? No, I'm just gonna rally.
Okay.
And
So
then
you see Beezaura sort of do the and gives out a rallying cry. You or Safira? I think it has to be an ally. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's her.
Great.
It's for
So
her.
Safira.
And I just roll my d8, right?
Yeah. Plus charisma, which is 0.
4.
Great. Did we do that?
I have 4 temp HP.
Yep.
Okay.
So you hear Beezaura's kind of rallying cry, and you see Beezaura like standing at the foot of this giant sort of skeleton bear.
What's rallying cry sound like?
How loud was that rallying cry?
Yeah, right.
Goddamn mouth.
They didn't hear me in the camp.
Okay.
Black lion.
Black line, great. He's gonna turn around, and he's really limping, so he's just gonna go for the closest person.
Happens
come
to be
in.
me. This is not good.
You're good.
6 to hit.
No.
17 to hit.
No.
Weird.
It is going to be good. It's going to be good.
There's a 2 in 20 chance there's not going to be good, alright?
Well, he has a modifier as well. It's not just doing that.
That's
To
true.
be fair,
he has a plus
yeah,
one.
yours was a 1 in 400 chance to roll 2 natural ones.
You've done it twice.
1 in 800 chance for twice? Is that how that works?
I don't. Leave me out of this. And you can see after you sort of block his attacks, he's sort of standing there. He's sort of panting and looking at
Poor
you.
guy.
All right.
Alright,
Safira?
it's,
Come
yeah.
on, baby.
Okay.
The horses have scattered off, by the way.
Yeah.
Do I have to kill one of them?
I'm going
They've run
to.
off. You can chase it down.
Hey, I'm gonna aim for the guy, not the bear.
Okay.
Where's your rider?
20 to hit.
That hits. Roll for damage.
Come on, he's done.
7
Plus the Slayer.
Oh.
Yeah, he's
14. Total.
14. Great. So Beezaura's kind of looking, and he's like, and he falls. You see the arrow in his back as he kind of
And I look
falls
at the
over.
arrow, I'm like,
And she's standing on the other side, like with her bow coming down. That's it.
Deem that hot.
I deem that hot.
done.
All right.
Alright.
Zombie.
Zombie. All right.
Oh, the spirit.
Oh,
No.
wait. Yeah, Spear
Spear Bear.
Spear Bear's gonna come up and sort of. It looks at the sort of carnage on the field, and it kind of looks at Safira, looks at Beezaura, and it charges towards the
And a
bear.
berry.
And that misses. That hits. Great. So it sort of goes in for a bite that it just out of range, and then it swings a paw around. And does 6. Right. And it hits the side of the bear, and the bear is like, the zombie bear is like falling apart. Its pieces are kind of coming off, and it's sort of staggered, and it looks like, I mean, it looks almost dead.
Oh
my god. Spirit Bear's gonna get it. How do you want to do this?
Okay.
Alright, after Spirit's zombie.
It's the zombie.
Great. So the zombie is sort of last breath of life. It's going to make, sort of spinning around in sort of cross-eyed way. It's going to make one attack on Beezaura and one on the Spirit Bear as it's sort of trying to make both. Spirit Bear misses 17 to hit.
No.
It sort of goes in for one final, and you put up the shield and it, and you sort of slide the shield.
Let's go, BZ.
All right, I'm
BZ,
going for it.
Come on.
Oh, golly. 17.
17 hits. Roll for damage.
Here we go.
7.
Show us how it's done.
There we go.
I just know that he's just gonna fall to pieces, so I just want to whack him so hard after this. So I whip it around 3 times, and I just go at him because it's just inevitable. And I just watch him fall down, and like the bear and Safira, and we're all watching together. And the bones just clank down, and I'm like shielding myself. And I just stand victorious.
There's a bit of
Good
quiet.
day, sir! Good day!
Oh, God. Just wonderful.
And there's a bit of quiet as the rattling of bones.
So now that the spirit bear is like that, the thing is done.
Yep.
I'm gonna take my bow and put it down, and my sickle and put it down, and get on my knees and gesture for Beezaura to do the same.
The Spirit Bear kind of. What
I'm
are you
gonna put
doing
my
with
head
Taboo's
down,
recurve?
It's. I think I had it in like. I
You
had
also
it,
have it. You said you put your bow and your sickle down. Are you putting all of them down?
I'm putting everything sort of down in front of me. I'm not like putting it. Yeah.
I have like no idea what she's doing. I'm like,
And the bear sort of walks forward a little bit, and it looks down kind of at its own sort of mangled corpse that's on the ground now. And it walks slowly over to Safira. And it lays its head down. And you start to see sort of flecks of blue mist kind of, and it seems like it's kind of disintegrating a little bit in the wind. And it kind of rises a little bit in the air, this sort of blue mist, and then goes towards Taboo's recurve, and it kind of sinks into the bow, and you watch the bear kind of dissipate as if made of sand, and it goes into the bowstring, and you see one kind of pulse of like blue energy, and then the bow quiets down.
what just happened?
Not entirely sure. I'm just gonna kind of reach into my bag, take a thing out of the healing potion, and just down it.
Sure, go for it. 1d4 plus 2d4 plus 2d4 plus
I was like, oh shit.
That's a shitty potion.
last little drops of
fucking
healing.
hell. Jesus Christ in heaven.
Wait,
Those are D6s.
that's a D6.
These are,
D4, girl.
D4s. I'm so sorry.
I should punish you by
I
making
know,
you take that
yeah.
roll.
Well, it's
okay.
about the same.
Is that a D4?
It's
2d4
actually
plus
been
2.
better both times that I've rolled a D4. 5. So, okay. I don't know why I announced that.
It's plus something.
And you have the temper.
it
2d4 plus 2.
Please. Oh, okay. So,
And you have the
7.
And the temporary hit points stay for now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can I? Are you able to turn into a bear now too? Are you able to turn into a bear now too?
It's not entirely clear to me, actually. I think I'm gonna.
You've already used Taboo's recurve.
No, I can't do it now. I know. but I
Yes,
just
that's what
mean-
I'm saying is
yeah.
I would have something to tell you if you were able to use it, but you can't. So you cannot feel the sort of connection with the bow at the moment because you haven't. It's not ready.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I'm gonna have to find out the next time I use it.
Well,
What could I say? I certainly fucking hope so.
that would be pretty spectacular.
I
if you ask
really
me.
would be. I was kicking myself for getting into that fight, but now I've gotta say I'm fairly glad. Okay,
I guess we'll find out.
we've got to do something with these bodies. Nobody can find them. And we can't put them in the river or the lake. If we do that, I mean, they'll definitely be discovered. We're gonna have to drag them somewhere.
Should we throw them over the side towards the cave?
No. Well. Oh.
It seems to be abandoned.
Well, hang on. What if we?
Oh my god.
Is it credible that the arrows? Right.
I do think we should.
Safira's got a lot going on.
Oh my god.
Dead bear, alive bear is dead again.
Do you think it's really necessary to do anything with the bodies?
Well, yes, because we're trying not to be discovered, and imagine that they come back here tomorrow and they're black lions. I imagine that triggers some kind of alarm.
Well, if they never return, it's the same sort of deal. I say, if we must move them, over the edge. If not, I'm going to go grab the paper and we must make our way back.
I say we strip them too. Maybe take their clothes. It could be useful to have black lion colors right now.
That's a good idea.
Alright.
If you want, collect the clothing first before we do anything with the bodies, and I'll grab the paper while we can. If we have to leave the bodies behind.
No, I think we should really try to hide them, at least.
So what are we doing first?
I want
Patting down the bodies, or
I want to walk over to the sorcerer's body,
Sure.
and I want to pat her down. I want to take the bones,
So her clothing, there's still a couple pieces of jewelry, like the bone jewelry.
Okay.
She has been
She's
ripped
been
to shreds. Her
annihilated.
clothing is completely
Rough.
ripped to shreds.
Okay.
And the necklace looks like it was broken as her sort of head got torn off.
Okay.
There are the sort of bone bracers and shin guards that are still relatively intact.
Okay,
that you
I
can
will take those.
Sure.
I'm gonna go over to the black lion guy that died like right next to me.
Great.
And take his outfit
Right,
and
so
pat
he-
him down.
Sure. So he has like a red and black. There's sort of feathers and fur that's been dyed. It's kind of like a light leather armor. One of them is like a kind of like a tank top, like no protection on the arms. And they do have a number of blades. It looks like each of them have 2 swords that you can take for now. So it's a lot to be carrying, but so it's 4 swords total. And they were all kind of wearing like sort of a moccasin type boot that's also red and black.
So I took off of both black lions.
Yeah, I'm talking about both of them. Yeah. And they don't have anything in the way of like personal possessions. It seems you also get the impression based on
They
what
had
you heard.
saddlebags and their horses ran off.
Possibly, or like they were running from wherever they came from, so they didn't like pack up to travel. They just, so yeah, they really just have on what you've seen: their clothes, their weapons.
Okay.
Okay.
So you take all that stuff.
I'm gonna then so any like the sort of cloth, I don't know if any of this is identifying in any way. Like if you saw like this tattered like thing that she was wearing, you'd
The red
be
and
like,
black?
yeah, you would recognize that, right?
Yeah, I mean it looks like black lion. Yeah, like it's
All
a
right.
specific kind of black and red patchwork kind of look to it. Yeah,
Then I'm gonna
like a true black lion. Maybe they'd be able to notice that it's kind of damaged, but it, for all intents and purposes, it looks like black lion clothes.
okay. I'm gonna start dragging her then towards where I know we're gonna deposit these bodies.
And you're going in the direction where the cave, kind of over that little
Yeah.
hill. Yep. It's not that far.
Am I strong enough to get both of these guys?
Slowly, yes. You kind of
I'm gonna get them both.
you're like
Yeah.
dragging one at a time
like
behind
triple
you.
my size, and I have 2 of them. So I'm just gonna bring them over.
Yeah, it's slow, but you're able
Yeah.
to do it. Yeah.
Aim for the bear traps with the body.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, watch out for the traps. Safira, I say we throw them over the edge.
So you've reached about the edge. It takes a little bit of time, but you
I
get over
say
it.
just leave them. Don't overthink it, please.
No, I'm not overthinking it. I just really think that we should take their robes.
Aren't we?
Didn't you take their
it?
clothes already?
Did you take them?
I already
Yeah,
took
she.
their
Oh,
You
already
took
took their
the
stuff? I didn't
shaman's.
realize.
I have 4
Okay,
swords,
okay.
2 pairs of boots, and
We've
both
got
of
all
the
our stuff.
Yep.
Great. Okay. All right. Let's go.
Let's do it. I just heave them
So
over.
roll
I
them
could care
over,
less.
and they you hear them kind of thump on the other side.
Okay. I mean, they're not
Just
well hidden,
do it.
but I think we should go. I think we should try to meet up with them.
Do you want me to go grab the paper?
Oh fuck yeah!
Because those people left, right?
Yeah.
If it's
As
still
far as you
there, we should
I'm
get
going
it,
to go quickly.
and then we should leave.
Stay by the boulder. I'm going.
Okay.
And I go.
You guys start to head in that direction. And we're gonna go back over to Erland and Orba.
Holy smokes!
We have a mission to do,
I'm
guys.
sweating.
I know. This is a lot of work.
I think I need to take
Just get the
my sweaters off. Why?
So, we're now getting up on about 3 o'clock.
So immediately after they went back down,
Yes.
I was sort of.
Sure.
Had I climbed back from the roof yet? I can't remember.
Yeah, Orba signaled to you. You came down.
Great. So I want to shimmy down. I want to go look. This is, I guess, still closer to 2 then. Yeah.
It's between the hour of 2 and 3. Yeah, sure.
So I want to go over and like crawl and see where they were playing Window Sands. Mm-hmm. See if maybe they dropped anything. See if there's any.
It looks like, and you like maybe heard this a little bit. It looks like sort of now you know his name is Berto. Sort of in his disappointment, he like tossed a bag of, and it looks like a bag, like a silk bag of some checker pieces. That's it. There's scattered across the sort of roof deck.
Okay, great. So nothing of interest there. I'm gonna sort of crouch back to the porch deck, get back down into sort of army crawl like I did last time. I want to crawl over towards the flags, and I want to sort of is it possible for me without having to like get up and sort through it for me to tell what colors there are now?
It's in a crate, so you'd have to lift up. I mean, you don't have to get up very high. It's not a big crate.
Great.
But
so I'm gonna sort of
you have to get up a little bit.
I'm gonna give a little check over the edge first, just to make sure no one's like peering.
You do not see anyone.
And then I want to sort of open the crate and I want to look through the flags to see what colors there are, if there's any identifying features.
Looks like there's 3 flags. Looks like they're completely blank other than the color. There's a big white flag, big blue flag, and a big red flag.
That's a big red flag.
Sorry.
And no like notes about what they mean or anything like that?
Not here.
Great. Cool. So I'm gonna close that back up, leave it as it was, and I want
The top of it was open.
Oh,
Yeah.
great. Then I leave everything as it was, and sort of crawl back to my perch by the window, peering over.
Okay. What are you doing during this time? Just
I'll take my station back up at the top of the stairs and have I'll take my writing stuff out again.
And
Just kind of reset.
after a little bit of time passes, as Erland's doing this kind of stuff, you do hear him. He seems to be like kind of moving a few papers around, and he kind of stacks some papers, and then he goes downstairs to the first floor.
Okay.
Is there anything you're doing this time?
Can I how do these staircases work? Like if I peek down just like a stair or two, can I see into the other room? Or that floor?
Yeah, you can see enough for sure.
Has his desk changed? Do I see any papers or anything that
I mean, there are papers on it. From here, it's hard to tell if there doesn't immediately appear to me anything that stands out as that wasn't there before.
Okay, and I'll just make sure that the guy at the catwalk has returned from playing
Sure.
Windows
You peek out.
Sands.
It looks like he has started. He's still walking in the opposite direction.
Okay. I'll stay hold up at the top of the stairs.
Okay.
As much as I want to go down the stairs.
And some more time passes.
Don't get out of here.
And it gets to about 3 o'clock.
Oh, here we go.
It's John's hour.
The guards do not change shifts at this hour. You don't see any exchange. And the pillars of smoke continue every 15 minutes. Big puff of smoke. And on the hour again, the white flags are raised. You get the impression that every hour they sort of check in with each other. They raise these flags. Again, all 3 towers, all white flags. And now the horses that were sort of led out from behind the barracks. I can bring that back out also. Let's get rid of these.
See ya, spirit bear.
See you later, sir.
Yeah. Yeah.
In a while.
You're gonna have to work on your bear sounds for next week.
Yeah.
Oh, yes,
I am.
That was mine.
Yeah. That was a bear sound?
Yeah.
That's why I'm gonna have to work
Come
on
on.
it. It's
Is a bear just waking up?
Yeah, it's a hibernation bear.
Oh.
Great. So the where they came out from behind this building, and they brought some horses out from behind there, led the horses to the sort of platforms.
They led horses to those platforms before? Oh yeah,
Yeah.
right.
They start to hook up the horses to these kind of sleds. They have these long ropes that hook up to these sleds. And they all seem to kind of get a sled, each horse. And then they lead them kind of to this, and can that be seen? Yeah, this sort of back entrance where you presume one of those guards is. The horses kind of head to there. And you see them kind of disappear behind the far side of the building that you can't see. And after a few, maybe 20, 30 minutes pass, and then you see the horses reemerge, and the sleds are now covered in these big crates. And they sort of drag these sleds with crates over to the platforms, where then, using the treadwheel cranes, the men begin to lift up. They sort of get inside the wheels and they start to turn and pick up these crates. So they're lifting them up sort of in anticipation of bringing them to something else. And you see them make multiple trips. The horses come over, they pick up the crates, the horses turn around, sleds go back. So they're making a few trips back and forth, sort of taking crates.
Where are once they raise the crates up from the crane, where are the cranes depositing them?
Sometimes they put them on the platform, and it looks like some of them are just staying in the air, sort of waiting for something else to arrive to put them on, maybe. But some of the crates go on the platform. It's sort of a mix. And at this point, during this hour, the 3 to 4 hour, 3 more Black Lion sentries ride in from the far side. And they head straight up. There's a little like winding paths that go up, and they relieve the sentries that have been riding around. So at this point in the day, 3 new Black Lion sentries. You can see the wreck, black and red colors. They relieve the 3 sentries that were riding around between the sentry towers. And those 3 ones that were up there already at the towers, they ride down to the platform area and sort of seem like they're sort of keeping watch.
Is there a way that they notify, because they're riding around, is there a way that the Black Lions that arrive notify the other ones? Or is it
they can kind of see them coming. I mean, again, their view along the perimeter is pretty good of everything happening in the camp. So they see 3 Black Lions arrive on horseback. They can see them arrive. And you might get the impression that they know kind of what time they're arriving. And
it doesnesn't seem like they have the sort of organized way of switching out. They don't do like a handshake thing.
As far as you can tell, they don't do any kind of handshake. The new ones arrive, the other ones see them arrive, they swap places, and the old ones hang around near the platforms.
Has anybody been inspecting the crates?
Not that you can see. Also, Orba's not looking.
I know.
Has anyone been inspecting the crates?
Anything you're doing during this hour. That's what you see sort of happening during this time.
I'm going to sort of go to the window, lean up, and relay this to Orba.
Sure.
No one's been inspecting the crates. I'm gonna sort of say the guards haven't changed shifts again.
Okay.
That only happened at 1 p.m. But every hour, on the hour, it seems that white flags are raised from the sentry towers.
Okay.
They seem to check in with each other. The smoke is still continuing to come out of what we assume is the electrolysis room.
Okay.
And they're beginning to prepare some sort of shipment at the loading docks.
It's the one that Berto was talking about? The big shipment to Orange Chupa, perhaps?
It is about 3 p.m. I have to assume that this would be... I assume they're waiting for the for some sort of carriage to arrive.
Yes, or a boat, I suppose.
It seems like Black Lion are sort of the hired muscle. I don't see any other Black Lion around. And then it's hard to tell who's running the camp. I don't recognize the regalia.
Okay.
I think that's everything so far.
Okay.
Anything on your end? Nothing from Graven?
No, I don't see them.
All right. I'm sure
she sees a rope floating down the dock.
Oh
she hears our fuck.
I'm sure they're just hiding and waiting for us at this moment.
Perhaps, yes. Also, I think Berto is now down at the first floor. If there's any reason I should go investigate anything on the second floor, now would be the time.
I mean, he's been writing this whole time. We saw... That seems risky.
Okay. Okay.
If you think you can make it down there quietly, maybe see what's on his desk.
I don't think anything. I'm just wondering.
It seems risky. It seems...
I agree.
We can always check on the way out.
True. Thank you, Erland. Go ahead.
You also hear, as you're sort of stationed there at the chairs, you hear some sort of rattling that sounds a little bit like pots banging together. And you saw as you came in, there was a little kitchen area in the bottom. It sounds like you might be sort of...
On the first floor?
On the first floor,
Oh.
It might be.
Erland.
Yes?
It sounds like you might be cooking something on the first floor.
Go have a look on the second floor then if you think you have time.
I do a quick look. Really quick.
Tiefling, be careful.
Okay. Orba's gonna... Oh. Yep, Orba's gonna leave her stuff at the top of the stairs.
What stuff?
Yeah, unclear. Her papers and the quill. Like, she'll have her bag on her.
Okay.
But she just wants to have that not have to pack it up and put away and stuff.
The papers that you've been recording all this stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
But you have everything else.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm going to just go downstairs as stealthily as possible and just focus on the desk, like nothing else.
Okay, give me a stealth check.
Come on, kid.
Come on, maybe. I believe that is a 13.
13. Quietly down the stairs. And again, as you go down a little more, you can hear a little louder the sort of clanging of some pots and things. Seems like he's making a bit of noise. The waterfall's making a bit of noise. Seems to be covering your tracks. So you scurry over to the desk.
Okay. Yep. Are there drawers?
There are, yes.
Can I quickly open each one and just like kind of take a peek?
You can. So, what are you looking at first? The drawers first as opposed to what's on the desk?
Yeah.
Okay. So you open the drawers, and you don't know this, but you see a lot of what Erland saw earlier, which is, it seems like a lot of record keeping.
Okay.
He has a lot of like things about what time that, like when sentries across the catwalk checked in with him. He's like, so-and-so checked in at blah, blah, blah. There seems to be a lot of like that kind of thing, and there are some old records that seem to be construction related, sort of the building of the catwalk, and you don't pick nothing about it other than sort of the business up here at the lake.
Okay.
Nothing stands out at you.
Okay. I guess then I'll take a look at the surface of the desk.
Great. Give me an investigation check.
Oh, boy.
There's a lot of stuff on the desk.
Investigation.
And you're trying to do it quickly.
17.
17. So you sort of shuffle through some of the papers. The one kind of right in front as you sit at the desk, he seems to be filing a report about the boat. He seems to be sort of, but nothing about it. You give it a quick read through, and he doesn't seem to suspect sabotage as far as you can tell. He's sort of like, accident at the lake, one of the boats went up in flame, we managed to, get the pieces out of the water, we don't believe it's going to damage the camp below. It's sort of like an official kind of record of what happened. So he seems to be filling that out.
Great.
You also, as you're sort of pushing some papers a little bit aside, you push aside, and there's a key on the desk. It looks like about the size might fit in the trunk on the 3rd floor.
Orba's gonna take the page that was covering the key and just with all of her strength just go and cover it back up and know that it's there. And just gonna keep looking through papers.
Okay. You don't notice anything else in particular. You see, again, Erland saw some of this. There's blueprints and things. You see, I don't know if you described this to her, but it looks like there are some blueprints that look like possible new construction plans for another building on the lake.
I think
you might have really. Yeah, so you see that and you recognize that as sort of what Erland described to you. But you don't notice anything else in particular.
Okay. I'm gonna cut my losses.
Cool it.
And cool it before I get too crazy.
Right.
And I'm gonna go back upstairs.
Scamper back up.
Okay. Erland.
Yes.
I found the key on the desk, and I think it might belong to the trunk up here. I didn't take it, but I really wanted to.
Oh, boy. Does it sound like he's really in the midst of cooking?
Cooking up a storm. He's like singing to himself.
Blender hits.
Like, alright, go.
You can't tell how deep into his cooking.
Making himself a cocktail.
He's cooking. He's like,
Was there a
stupid
did we
Virgo,
see?
stupid.
Did we see a place to eat on the ground floor?
Yeah, there was a small table in there, like a chair.
Oh.
If he has to cook and eat, do you believe you could realistically... We can't take anything from inside the... Unless there's notes, in which case you would copy them?
You're giving this conversation a time or two. I mean, this is all...
Yeah.
You have to decide what you're doing.
Maybe if he does something else, I don't know.
This is our chance right now.
Orba goes back downstairs.
As she's leaving, take the key, Orba.
Okay. Orba runs back downstairs and takes the key.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Goes back up really quickly.
Okay. And you unlock
Yeah.
the chest, and it fits right in.
Is it a like a deadbolt lock? Like to relock it, do I just have to go and like re-secure it?
Yeah.
I'm gonna unlock it and run the key back downstairs
Okay.
Oh, nice.
and replace the key.
Give me a stealth check as you do that.
Really
Oh
smart.
my god. Why did you
18.
just have to
18. Or Erland sees Orba come up, And she runs back down, disappears for a little bit, back up, and you get back up. Open the chest. And it looks like at first you just see kind of bedding and things. See some sheets, an extra pillow. But you push some things aside. And you find a pouch that contains a bit of gold and silver, seems like. So you see that. You can check how much, but at first you just kind of take a peek and see that it contains money. You see a push dagger, which is a dagger you kind of hold in your hand, and it sticks out between these two fingers. You hold it in as a fist weapon, kind of. That's cool. And on it has that same tiger logo that's on the shield that's hanging on the wall. It seems like possibly a military item of the past. And it's clearly used. It sort of has some tarnishing to it, but it's well taken care of. It looks still sharp and in good condition. And there's also a piece of paper at the bottom. Do you take it?
Of course.
I mean, yeah, I take it out. Oh my god.
That's a lot of writing.
Man, I want that push dagger.
Digger.
Very cool.
Dagger.
Digger.
Just so I can pronounce it.
Okay. Orba's gonna quickly transcribe this on her notes by the stairs.
Sure.
Can I hang on to this so I don't have to do that? Okay. She's gonna put it back in. How does everything sound?
It doesn't sound like he's come up to the second floor yet.
Okay. I'm gonna open up a pouch.
Okay. It looks like there's 33 gold and 4 silver in it at the moment.
Okay.
Am I glancing over my shoulder?
You can see Orba rooting through the trunk. You can't see what she has grabbed out of it.
Orba's gonna hold the pouch and kind of scoot over to Erland on the other side of the wall and just. Erland.
No. He can't know we were here. Did you find anything else?
Yes, I found something else. Hold on. And she's gonna return the pouch, cover it with the bedding, make sure the paper's there, and then the other thing, the dagger. She's gonna close it but leave it unlocked just in case, so it looks reset.
Sure.
Erland, I found that there's some kind of fancy dagger, and there's also a piece of paper that I wrote down what it has, and then I returned everything to the trunk.
What's the piece of paper?
The piece of paper is a letter, it seems, from his employer or something. So I'll take...
Read it out loud.
Looks like things are going well and they want to expand. I should read this as Orba. Let's do this again.
Yeah. What is it, Orba? Orba. What does
Read
it say?
it to me,
What does it
Orba.
say? Read it to me.
Okay. It says, looks like things are going well and they want to expand. They don't like to replace people if they've already got someone they can trust, so it seems you're going to be staying on as supervisor longer than planned. Sorry about that, but hey, the money's good, right? It sounds like he doesn't actually need the money and we could just probably take the gold and...
Regardless of what he needs, he can't know we're here. I need to go... They're trying to expand.
Yes, I saw blueprints on the desk on the second floor. They're expanding the lake. They're expanding structures on the lake.
Okay.
That's all I could glean.
Don't like to replace people if they've already got someone they can trust.
Meaning Berto, right? They're keeping him as supervisor while they expand on the lake. Because they trust him.
Okay. Back to the lookouts.
Okay, should I relock the trunk?
Remember to close it before we leave, but let's keep it open for now, just in case we need that dagger or something.
That's a risky business, but okay. Orba's gonna go back to the stairs, not locking the trunk. Oh god.
Oh.
I hate that.
Some more time passes.
I need more paper.
And it gets to about 4 o'clock. Now the hour 4 to 5. The guards change shifts this hour.
You know I want to be in the best possible vantage point.
It seems like once again they come out of the barracks and the 3 guards, and it looks like not the 3 that were there before, 3 new guards come out and hit those same 3 spots. The entrance close to you, the one at the glass building, and the far end that you can't really see near the horses.
Yeah.
Same 3 spots. Where they're, that one, that one. And they change shifts again. Give me a perception check.
You're so sweaty.
15.
15. So you sort of crawl over to the edge, and you have the spyglass and a pretty good vantage point. Now you're looking pretty far down that you can see the sort of gap between them. And the guy kind of comes up. He's holding a spear in one hand, the other one's holding a spear, both in their right hand. And the one comes up, and he makes this symbol up to his shoulder. They nod at each other, and he drops it. Not like an owl, like a...
I know, just kidding.
Like a swoosh.
Do they make it to each other?
Yeah, they both do this. He gets up to him, they kind of make eye contact, do the symbol, nod,
and they
walks.
Are they mirroring each other, or is it both left arm?
They're
right spear.
Right hand, spear in right hand, symbol with the left hand. Yep.
Right.
Nice
They
job.
change their shifts.
Are the flags pulled again?
The flags come again on the hour, yep. And as a little bit of time passes, the pillars of smoke stop rising part of the way through this hour, somewhere between 4 and 5, maybe a little less than halfway through. The pillars of smoke stop puffing, like at that 15-minute, like where it would be the 30-minute kind of mark where they do every 15 minutes. It does not happen that time. White flags are raised again, and now multiple horse-drawn carriages arrive from the west entrance on the far side, or is that right? East entrance on the far side. Yes, on the east entrance. So they come riding in on the far side, and they pull up to the sort of in between these staging areas.
How many? Like a lot, or like 2 or
4
3?
horses. They had like one for each platform.
So 4 separate horse-drawn
4 separate
carriages.
horse-drawn carriages
Right.
pull up kind of one at a time, and they each filter in between these platforms. And immediately you can see, first of all, they unload some stuff. So it looks like they had a number of things they're unloading, and through the glass you can see there does appears to be some crates of like basic necessities. It looks like there's some food, some barrels of maybe wine, some kind of basic everyday goods that get ferried in. Mm-hmm. And there are some sort of unmarked crates and things that you can't tell what's inside, but it seems to be a mix of sort of necessities and possibly something else. And the majority of those things are brought back to the barracks. So some of the men who were there in the cranes, they pull it off the carriages and they start to bring it back towards the barracks.
The wine barrels have Molifair written
You
on
cannot
it?
see that. You're not even totally sure they're wine. They could be ale barrels. I mean, they're shaped like that, but you don't know that for sure. There isn't someone like drinking out of one of them. So they start to pull a lot of those things and return to the barracks. And after they're done unloading, the crates coming from the yard are hoisted into the carriages. So they start pulling up these crates that were on the sleds, putting them in the back of the carriages, one at a time. And they stack quite a few of them. I mean, they get at least maybe 8 large crates in each carriage, like a 2x4.
So it's like a business carriage?
Yeah, it's kind of like a business carriage.
A business carriage.
I'm sorry.
So you see them hoisted in, and they seem to sort of be packing up, and that's all happening during this time.
And the people who drove the carriages in, are they wearing the same that same regalia that we're seeing?
They're not. They seem to be wearing sort of more basic attire that you might see a merchant or a traveler wear, just a simple tunic, and they're not armored. It doesn't seem like, as far as you can tell.
But everyone else has that sort of little thing with the little symbol there that we've seen everyone sort of have. It's like that sort of basic.
Well, they have like a padded armor with a breastplate. It doesn't have a symbol on it.
I thought the breastplate had a symbol on it. A little triangle thing.
Definitely not all of them, and not as far as you can tell. I mean, there's like basic armor. And again, there doesn't seem to be like a consistent uniform other than being generally armored.
Right, but the carriage guys are not.
No, they're definitely not. And you notice that after they're kind of done loading up these crates, they sort of throw a tarp over the top and they kind of tie it down with ropes so it kind of covers up the general idea of what's in the back.
Is it even remotely possible for me to try and recognize one of the carriage drivers?
No.
Okay.
Small talk.
I was thinking the dude who was on the way to Blondes.
Mm-hmm.
So you see them load that up. So as that's going on, you see many people start to exit the main building, maybe 10 to 15 of them, and most of them are going out this way, so out this entrance, and a lot of them are wearing the blue arming hoods that you've seen before. Yeah. So it seems like at this point, a lot of people who were working in the lab have now sort of finished up and they head back towards the barracks.
Leaving their 9 to 5.
At the old Myconid factory.
Oh, God.
See you tomorrow.
Sorry.
order some more mushrooms tomorrow.
Are they going? So now we've seen sort of guards going out that way and sort of laborers going out this way. Are the lab technicians going into another entrance or
in the barracks?
Yeah.
They kind of go where the guards came from. Doesn't seem to, it's hard to tell if it's the exact same entrance. You can't see the door totally, but it's about the same place. That's pretty much what you see going on during this time. Is there anything else you want to sort of look at?
This is wild. There's no way I can read lips from this far, is there? Okay.
Sorry. I had to.
I mean,
No, it's worth asking,
my
man.
job is to scout.
I love to take my grenade.
Where do I put that key?
Do they have, are they wearing protective gloves of any sort?
They're not. The ones with the blue
Yeah, the people
armpits?
walking out or any of the people loading stuff up, are they wearing
Nope.
protective?
Nope.
Okay, is there any, like, discoloration that we're seeing on the hands from the guys walking out?
That's very hard
Tough to
tell.
see.
Yeah.
Cool. Alright, no irregular movement other than that?
That's what's going on.
Great, so I'm gonna...
And it does seem like those black lines that came down to the sort of staging area after being relieved, they are kind of overseeing what's going on. They're kind of waiting there. They're on horseback, like watching.
Okay.
They're not participating, but they're overseeing.
And
what's
this loading
happening.
process takes, like,
Yeah,
roughly this hour.
Oh, yeah, it takes a while.
All
At
right,
least
so I'm gonna
30,
sort of
45 minutes.
pop up to Orba and sort of... so around 4 o'clock, it seems like the technicians leave the harvest, the what we assume is the electrolysis lab. Mm-hmm. It seems like they're done with... This is an assumption. It seems like they're done with the production of the myconid extract, and it seems like they're loading it onto carriages. It's a little after 3, but I assume this is the large 3 p.m. delivery
Okay.
that they were speaking about on the way to Shupa.
This is the 4 to 5 block right now.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, okay.
I assume, well, they started loading at 3, and then the guys arrived at 4.
Yeah. I mean, yes.
So, I mean, we would, I don't know, maybe they're late, I guess.
Sure. No, I just mean, yeah, I thought you were talking about what's going to happen like now, but yeah.
Yeah, the guys, when they were playing Windows Sands, he said the 3 o'clock delivery, yeah?
Yeah, he did.
He
Yeah.
said in an hour or so, I think.
Oh, okay.
I don't think he said 3 o'clock.
Okay. One more thing I realized, Erland, that we might want to keep an eye out for. Is there any obvious signs of light, like lanterns or lampposts at night that they would light up at the camp? Or does it seem like it's going to get dark quite... it's going to get very dark when the sun sets around the land of the camp.
All right, that might be something we check. We have to leave before the sun comes down.
Yes, we do.
All right, Erland's gonna pull out I want to scan the sort of, I guess actually the route around, kind of, I guess everything then, looking for hooks that I guess I would presumably have seen on the.
Yes. So you give a look around. It looks like there's sconces that could hold torches and things all around. I mean, there's along lines of the building. It looks like they're on the sentry towers as well. I mean, yes, it looks like they light up certain parts of it, certainly, or have the option to.
No movement out of the pool room?
You have not seen. You saw the guard when they
Yeah.
changed shifts. You saw
Yeah.
someone. Yeah, but you haven't seen any activity in there that you could tell.
The guards that leave are not wet, are they?
No.
Taking a swim. Okay.
Swampy.
Speaking of swimming.
Also, this is the symbol for when they change guards.
Good job.
Back to it, and I'm gonna sort of hunker down again.
It's our last hour, Erland. Find the things you need.
All right.
Okay.
And during this time, it sounds like you can hear the guy coming back up to the second floor.
Oh no.
So he's there now.
Okay.
But is it?
Guard, the supervisor has returned to second floor. Going to keep an eye.
It sounds like he sits again at his desk.
Okay.
This poor guy.
And still, we don't see any, I guess other than that chimney near the electrolysis lab, there's no other grates or anything like that, or...
Like chimneys or anything?
Or even just, like, grates for, like, water to flow out into sort of the river or anything like that, or even by the pool
Not
room?
that you can tell, no.
Okay, cool.
I mean, like some of the roofs are clearly sloped towards the river. That, like, if there was rainfall, it would sort of all.
Yeah, but there's no,
filter
like, gutters or anything
Not that
coming
you can
out
see.
of...
Not
okay.
like that. No. All right. And we go back to under the catwalk,
Under the catwalk. Having some
where
fun.
Graven and Jillian
He's so good at doing.
have continued their ascent as they rope, pull.
We've already gone back for rope a couple.
You've
of
already
times.
gone back, yes, a couple
And
times.
back,
Yes.
okay.
And you develop this kind of rhythm. You seem to, like, there isn't much communication at a certain point. You sort of know what the thing is, and you're both kind of breathing hard, but sort of feeling the sort of, and yeah, it sort of feels like a good workout. You sort of get the rhythm, rope, tie, tug, pull the person across, they pull across, and you go back and forth. And a couple times above you, you do kind of stop, and Jillian kind of motions, and you watch the sun kind of get, or the light get blocked out as someone kind of walks overhead. And it's too loud for them to hear you, but she sort of plays it safe and sort of lets it pass, and then goes back. And the noise of the waterfalls kind of around you.
Halfway, more than halfway.
You're a little over halfway, yeah.
Okay.
So you're getting kind of up to 3/4. Waiting. Rope, pull, tie, signal.
And we're still, it doesn't get any more than like my waist. Or...
It gets a little deeper.
Okay.
As you got to kind of the halfway point, it was getting pretty high, and Jillian's kind of, it's up like a little past her chest, but she sort of leaves at that point. She leaves it to you to kind of wade through, and when she gets the rope, she's able to pull herself through. I mean, it's not easy, but you guys kind of make your way.
It's not like a rope rushing.
No, I mean, it's moving pretty good, but it's enough. If you move slowly and carefully, it's not going to just like whoosh, knock you like completely out. And the water's cold, but the strenuous activity kind of keeps your body temperature up. Sort of soreness setting into your hands and your thighs and your forearms, but you're sort of pushing through the burn with tenacity. And you pause again sporadically, watch the light go above you, resume the activity again. And you continue on. And you're getting now up to, you're making pretty good progress. 3/4 of the way, maybe even a little bit more. It's your turn again. Sloshing through, throw the rope. Give me a dexterity check on this one as we're sort of moving through. Make it with advantage. You've got the rhythm down.
Too good.
Oh my goodness. Please,
50.
dear Lord.
Was it on?
It was a 3.
Thank God.
So you take the rope. You sort of, it's now started to go back down. So it reached up to a certain height and then it starts to go down. So now it's like it's up to your belly button, maybe around your, and you sort of at the next pole and you go to throw the rope around and you don't see it come around the other side. You sort of pull it and and this time the rope comes around and you grab it, and as you grab it, it feels kind of slick and rubbery.
No.
It's a snake.
And you hold your hand up and
It's a snake.
a snake is looking back at you. You can make an attack, and you can also roll for initiative.
Oh, fuck.
Wait, so what happens first?
You're gonna make the attack before the combat happens.
Okay.
Oh my god, it's
So make the attack roll. So you're making it with your fist.
Okay,
not
so
with,
no modifier?
Oh, strength modifier.
16.
That
eh?
hits.
Okay, and that is, it'd probably be, unarmed strike is 3 bludgeoning.
3 bludgeoning damage. Great. So you sort of see it, sort of punch it, and it kind of gets a little disoriented, and it kind of slips back through your hand, and you sort of look, and Jillian sort of sees you. She couldn't see exactly what's happening because she's back about 10, 15 feet, and she sort of, Graven! Snakes! And she looks down, and you look down into the water, and you can see
Oh, Jesus.
swirling in the water around you. These sort of snakes moving around, and you see Jillian. Fuck! And she takes out a blade, and she tosses it to you. Make a dexterity check.
She didn't
And she
plan for that.
picks a blade out as well. She has the 2 blades.
Shit.
And you go to it, and it goes off and plops into the water.
Raven!
Roll initiative.
God damn it!
Oh.
16.
Alright.
Great. We're probably not going to do this
Useless
fight
with that
tonight.
dexterity.
However,
Oh, why you say this?
I can't believe you didn't catch
But
the
I had the
knife.
thing out.
Oh my god, I cannot believe you didn't
Whoa.
catch the knife, you roast.
I have other ways of attacking that isn't my mitts.
No!
Right.
Whoa!
That's helpful.
Oh.
I'm going to
Oh my
show
God.
you what the here.
Wow.
What? So
I
it's
love
do
that
like
water pattern.
Give yourself a big scream.
I will.
You give yourself that big screen.
So also,
Yes.
What?
where
It's really refreshing.
Fucking snake
does,
fight?
actually.
Come on.
And they're probably like contaminated snakes. I don't know what that.
Myconid snakes?
Yeah.
So this is the catwalk.
Oh my god, so cool. Look at this.
And this is the surface of the water, and that's
That
obviously
is-
the riverbed at
Yeah.
the bottom.
Yeah.
So you can see as it's kind of tiered, and we'll get into that combat next time. However, we're not done yet. We're just, I'm
Yeah.
just setting up the thing. So there's a number of snakes kind of swirling around. You do not have the
Missed
dagger.
the dagger.
Presumably it kind of plopped down. You could try and go for it, possibly. You'd have to kind of go down and grab it. So that option's for you.
Infested snake.
Great, so sort of saw the layers there. Yay.
I think I rolled a 16.
You did, I remember.
We are
Oh,
going
you
to
did.
briefly go back to the far side of the lake.
Oh.
Let me just.
Snake fight.
So you guys make your way over to the area
Yeah.
where the sort of wagon was, the ox, and you saw the machine. The machine is now gone. The pipes are now gone, but you've seen them kind of move in the opposite direction. And you work your way over there. Make investigation checks for me as you get close to this area.
Ten.
10.
So you guys take a second. Looking around, you do find soggy in the edge of the water.
Okay, I'll take it.
A note. And you kind of have to pick it up carefully because it looks like it might fall to pieces. It's all wet.
Gentle.
But you are able to make it out.
What does it say? What?
Basically what we already knew, but good to know how many turns it takes.
Just read it out.
30 turns. 30 turns.
30 turns, then vacate the area. Signal when you're clear. No loud noises, just in case. Just in case of being spotted by whom? Who's out here? Black lions, I guess? Why would
Black
they care if they're
lions, the
spotted by black
animals.
lions? 30 turns on
The crank.
crank, then vacate the area. Signal when you're clear.
It
How
seems
do
pretty
they
clear.
signal when they're clear?
I don't
And
know,
is there anyone
but
watching
I
this
don't
lake?
think that we should spend
No,
time
we
thinking
really
about
shouldn't.
it.
And I want to take. Can I kind of carefully, can I?
You can. You
can
also
I take
will
it with
remember
me?
what's
I'm
on it, but
sure,
yeah,
but-
it's short, but it
Yeah.
might kind of fall apart a little bit, but you can kind of put the
I
soggy thing in
I
your
think
bag.
you should put that away quickly and we should leave.
Yes.
And
And we're
Put the note in. You guys start to turn around, and as you do,
oh god.
with your foot,
Me or Safira?
you do.
Oh god.
And you look down, and you kind of kick the dirt away. It looks like there's a brass ring there in the ground.
Oh no.
And some planks of wood.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Yeah, I think they've already started building. Under here.
Seems like there's
Yeah.
going to be
Yeah.
sort of a
No, I understand that.
And can I bend down and listen in?
Yeah.
Let's
You
see
do
if I
not hear anything. You can kind of also, if you sort of
Yeah.
push some of the dirt away, it looks like a hatch of some kind,
Yeah.
but you don't hear anything on the other side of it.
Safira,
Yeah.
I don't think it's worth opening.
No, look,
Now that we know it's here, we know it's here.
I think you're right. I think we have to head back. Otherwise, we risk completely bungling this whole thing.
I think we take note of it and leave.
We have to tell. Well, this is obviously a part that.
Right.
This was not
so
on the
let's
map.
go.
Yes.
I take my foot out and we go.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
It wasn't in anything. You
Oh,
saw it.
I
Yeah,
thought
you
it
just
was,
heard it like
stuck
hit
in
the wood.
Oh, okay, got it.
Like stuck on the wood.
Yeah.
You guys turn.
Yeah, we head
Start
out.
to scamper down the shoreline. And that's where we're going to end for today.
I was not opening that hatch.
No, it's too dangerous.
Everyone having sort of made their way through their obstacles, Graven and Jillian will be jumping in
I can't wait for a good snake fight.
to underwater snake fight.
Natural one.
That snake fight is gonna be
Again. So
good.
sorry.
Just.
How is that?
Stop giving me advantage, Matt, because all I do is bungle it.
Now we're using
Speaking
bungle.
of
Like
bungle. That looks awesome,
That's
by
cool,
the
that's
way.
cool.
That
Yeah,
looks
so the
so cool.
the sentry walks up across the catwalk.
You have to have a full combat with the
We
sentry
need to have
above
a
you.
quiet combat.
Yo,
Snakes.
Take that.
better be a quiet combat.
Oh my
So we'll hop into that next time, next
come on.
Sunday.
We'll slither into that.
Stakes are so high.
The snakes are so
Hate that.
That's dope.
Thank you guys so much for joining us.
Hey.
As always.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Ooh, Skylar.
Oh, Skylar, thank you for the beer.
Oh, thank you.
We
Thanks to
got
the
hosted
host.
by 2 people. We got hosted by Gasumba, and then it was earlier in the night. Now I lost it. Wait, I'm gonna find it. I'm
Quick.
sure they're not around.
Snakes got your
anymore.
tongue?
3, 2.
Are you gonna beat me to
Is
it?
anyone gonna?
It was.
I don't have it. I'll have to look at it later.
Thank
I'm
you
so
guys so much for
sorry.
joining. We will
Well,
thank
thank
you at the
you.
beginning of the next stream.
Next
Yeah.
stream. Oh, brother.
We'll be here same time
We'll be
next
back.
week, 7 o'clock Sunday night. We'll pick it up from there. Thank you guys so much for joining
It'll
us.
be March,
Yeah.
March
I
1st.
know.
Oh my
Oh
gosh,
my
crazy
God.
town.
Officially March.
Big things happen in March.
Lousy March weather.
Goodness.
Any other
That was
closing
just
thoughts?
that was just for John.
Nope.
No.
Good night, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next week.
Bye. Oh, brother.
Oops, that's the wrong screen.